Beijing
no
Biden.
fault of their own, are so badly hurting right now. Millions who never thought they'd ever be out of work, facing eviction or waiting hours in their cars for a meal from a food bank. I talked about how our rescue plan is a necessary bridge to our economic recovery and our ability to build back better, stronger, and
Build
more
back
secure.
better.
And while these crises have caused real damage, I explained how it will cost more, hundreds of billions of dollars more, to undo the harm. I talked about our moral obligation to act and about the clear economic consensus that making the investments I'm calling for, that the required deficit spending, as the original plans have as well, are necessary to get us out of this deep hole we find ourselves in as a nation. I also talked about our seriousness of purpose, our clear plan with transparency and accountability, and why our call for unity is equally necessary. Unity is not some pie-in-the-sky dream. It's a practical step to getting things done. We didn't get into all of this overnight. We won't get out of it overnight either. But we will get through it, and we'll get through it together. And today, I'd like to talk more about what that means in sparing no effort. I mean sparing no effort to get Americans vaccinated. Vice President Harris and I, we just received a briefing from our COVID team. Truthfully, we remain in a very dark winter. Infection rates are up 34%. More people are being hospitalized because of COVID than ever before. We're up to between 3,000 and 4,000 deaths per day as we approach a grim milestone of 400,000 deaths in America. That's staggering, to state the obvious. I know the pain that so many of you are experiencing.
400,000 in 2 seasons.
Right now.
It's 200,000 a season, right?
Starting by sitting down for breakfast this morning and staring at an empty chair around the kitchen table.
I don't know.
Where a loved one used to sit, laugh, talk about how you love one another. I know the frustration that we're all feeling. Almost a year later, we're still far from back to normal. The honest truth is this: things will get worse before they get better. I told you I'll always level with you. You know, and the policy changes that we're going to be making are going to take time to show up in the COVID statistics. And they're not just statistics, it's people's lives. People getting infected today don't show up in case counts for weeks. Those who perish from this disease die weeks after exposure. So it will take time. But I know there are things we can do, and we can do them now. For example, the vaccines offer so much hope.
Yo.
And we're grateful for the scientists,
What's going on,
researchers,
G?
and everyone who participated in the clinical trials. We're grateful for the integrity of the process.
Almost
the
up to
rigorous review and
400,000 now.
testing that's led to millions
But,
of people around the world
where's the seasons
already
at?
being vaccinated safely.
We got a flu season?
The
Is this like
vaccine rollout
COVID
in the
season, or
United
is this
States
like a
has been
year-round
dismal
thing?
failure thus far. And in today's briefing, we discussed 5 things we'll do in an attempt to turn things around.
What are those 5 things?
5 things to turn frustration into motivation. 5 things to help us meet our goal of 100 million shots by the end of our first 100 days in office. Some wonder if we're reaching too far for that goal. Is it achievable? It's a legitimate question to ask. Let me be clear. I'm convinced we can get it done.
What's the goal?
And this is the time to set big goals.
Oh my God, what's the
Pursue
plan?
them with courage and conviction, because the health of the nation is literally at stake. First, we will immediately work with states to open up vaccinations to more priority groups.
Already being done.
The process of establishing priority groups is driven by science.
Yeah, 25,000 troops at the Capitol.
Is the implementation has been too rigid and confusing. If you were to ask most people today, They couldn't tell you who exactly is getting vaccinated. What they do know is there are
What are you
tens of
talking
millions of doses of vaccine sitting unused in freezers around the country, while people who want and need the vaccine can't get it. We'll fix the problem by encouraging states to allow more people to get vaccinated beyond healthcare workers and move through those groups as quickly.
That was the
as they
Democrats who
think we
made
can.
that the plan.
That includes anyone 65 years or older, a population that is accounted for
Oh
over
my God.
80% of the deaths
We're gonna
to date.
overturn our
80%
own-
deaths to date. We also have to continue
own law.
vaccinating frontline essential workers like educators, first responders,
That's
grocery
already the plan.
store workers, etc.
Is that
It won't mean that
that
everyone
part
in
two?
this group will get vaccinated immediately, as the supply is not where it needs to be. But it will mean that vaccines become available, as they can become
Dude, he
available.
is just literally.
We'll reach more people who
bouncing
need
all
them.
o-
We'll reach.
We don't have the supply yet. All around the country, there's shit sitting around. Like, how do you start by saying, yeah, there's not enough, or there's way too much, and it's just sitting there because people aren't using it. We need to dictate it to the right people, and then we also need to make sure that the frontline workers are getting it, which are the people who are getting it right now that you just said aren't getting it, and it's sitting in freezers. What in the fuck, Joe Biden?
Out and get the vaccine used. The second thing we're going to change,
That was just
if we're getting more people vaccinated, then we need more vaccination sites. That's where we're going to harness the full resources of the federal government to establish thousands of community vaccination centers.
Oh my God.
On my first day in office, I'll instruct the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA,
Yeah.
to begin setting up the
Serious.
first of these centers.
Lord's Watchman.
By the end of our first month
100%.
in office, we will have 100 federally supported centers across the nation that will ultimately vaccinate millions of people. Think of the places that are convenient and accessible: school gymnasiums, sports stadiums, community centers.
Jesus, they're gonna
We've
get the
already
kids.
had productive conversations with bipartisan groups of county officials,
They're
mayors,
talking in
governors.
schools right now in some states that they don't want to go and basically have it to where the parent dictates it, because if the parent tells them the kid doesn't get it, then the kid goes to school. So they're going and saying, yeah, we're gonna try to bypass it to where the kid would give consent. So the kid can come home and be like, oh yeah, I got a vaccine today at school. And it's like, what?
Tribal leaders, leaders of the private sector, who shared their ideas with us about this effort.
Oh.
And as we build that, we're going to make sure it's done equitably. We're going to make sure there are vaccination
Lose
centers
your
in
job.
communities hit hardest by the pandemic, in Black and Latino communities and rural
Oh, yeah,
communities
his
as well.
notebook.
Within the first month of our administration, we're going to deploy mobile clinics, moving from
I will
community
watch
to
it
community,
after this.
that will partner with community health centers and local primary care doctors to offer vaccines to hard-hit and hard-to-reach communities in cities,
Mike Lindell's
small
notebook.
towns, and in rural communities. And to staff up these centers, we will mobilize thousands of clinical and non-clinical professionals. Think of the people that we deploy in natural disasters. Experts from the Federal Emergency Management Agency, from FEMA, and the Center of Disease Control.
Oh my
Our
God, you
Public
can get
Health
people at the
Service
CDC to go out there
Commission
and
Corps.
dictate it.
Our military medical personnel,
we
our
can't,
first
like, have just
responders.
normal people doing this
Additionally, we're
shit.
going to expand the pool of medical professionals, including retired healthcare workers, who can administer the
Yeah,
vaccine
exactly.
and to ensure we have enough vaccinators
That's what they're moving
to
towards.
meet the nation's needs as we ramp this up. And as governors of both parties have asked, our administration will reimburse states 100% when their National Guard is deployed in the fight against COVID. We'll provide resources to help states cover the cost of personnel, vaccinators, administrative staff, as well as supplies like dry ice and laptops and protective equipment. The third change we're going to make is we're going to fully activate the pharmacies across the country to get
Number
the
3.
vaccination into more arms as quickly as possible. Millions of Americans now turn to the local pharmacies every day for their medicines, flu shots, and much more. We're going to immediately start new major effort, working directly with both independent and chain pharmacies to get Americans vaccinated.
Oh my God.
This program will expand beyond access in neighborhoods
Going
across country,
invest in Walgreens
across the
and
country,
CVS.
so that you can make an appointment and get your shot, conveniently show up at a particular time, and get it done quickly. The fourth thing we're going to do is we're going to use the full strength of the federal government to ramp up supply of the vaccines. As I said before,
A bunch of federal
we
government
use the
coming
Defense
in.
Production Act to work with private industry to accelerate the making of materials needed to supply and administer the vaccine.
We're gonna do
From
this,
the tube
and that.
and syringes to
I'm like,
protective
where are you guys
equipment.
getting all this money from?
And I've already asked the team, and we have identified the suppliers who are prepared to work with our teams, and we're going to work with their teams. Not someday we're going to go do this. When I say we're going to invoke the Defense Production Act, I said, go out, even though we don't have the authority now, go out and identify those companies that are prepared and will be able to do what we're going to ask. As we made clear earlier this month, the Trump administration's policy of holding back close to half the supply of the vaccines available did not make sense. Our administration will release the vast majority of the vaccines when they're available, so more people can get vaccinated quickly while still retaining a small reserve for any unseen shortage or delays. But let me be clear.
Getting his life straight.
We are not changing the FDA's recommendation and its recommended dosing schedules. We believe it's critical that everyone should get 2 doses within the FDA recommended time frame. So we're not doing
Kind of
away with
make sure that it really does something
availability.
too.
Fifth, we will always be honest and transparent about where we stand, both the good news as well as the bad.
Oh my God.
We're going to make sure state and local.
This is the difference that, like, one thing that I really don't like about how Joe Biden speaks is everything is like, yeah, it's going to be bad, man. It's going to be dark for a little bit. Like, we got to have the good news, but then we got to have the bad news, too. It's gloomy days. Everybody be depressed. We're going through tough times right now, guys. Everybody's got to just shut up, sit down, and wait.
Local officials know how much supply they'll be getting and when they can expect to get it so they can plan. Right now, we're hearing that they can't plan because they don't know how much supply of vaccines they can expect at what time frame. That stops when we're in office. We're also promised to provide regular updates to you, the American people, on our progress and our goals.
Oh, like Trump was
We will
doing
be, I
until you
promise
guys stopped filming
transparent
it?
about the decisions we are making and why we're making the decisions. You're entitled to know. Our administration will lead with science and scientists, with the Center for Disease Control, the National Institute of Health, that will be free and totally free from political influence. A Surgeon General who's independent and speaks directly to the American people. The FDA, whose decisions are based on science and science alone, speaking directly to you. Look, while millions of Americans have already gotten the vaccine and millions more are already to get it, we also know we need to address vaccine hesitancy and build trust in many communities. We know that's the case, for example, in Black, Latino, and Native American communities.
He's squinting.
People who have not always been treated with dignity and honesty they deserve by the federal government.
Look, you can hear it in his voice right there.
Treated with, for example, in Black, Latino, and
Right.
Native American communities. People who have not always been treated with dignity and honesty
People
they
who have
deserve
always not
by
been
the
treated.
people who have not always been treated with dignity and honesty they deserve by the federal government and the scientific community throughout our history.
Oh, he bounced back.
We also see that disinformation campaigns are already underway to further undermine trust
he's
in the
horrible.
vaccines.
He's reading something.
Our administration will launch a massive public education campaign to rebuild that trust. We'll help people understand what science tells us, that the vaccines help reduce the risk of COVID infections and can better safeguard our health and the health of our families and our communities.
I feel like they're confusing him and they have
It's a
like
critical
pictures of what
piece
to do with his
to
hands.
account for a tragic reality of the disproportionate impact this virus has had on Black,
someone
Latinos, and
standing
Native
there.
American people who are being infected about 4 times the rate of white Americans and dying at nearly 3 times the rate of white Americans. This is unacceptable. It's unconscionable. Equity is central to our COVID response. And the Vice President and I commit to making sure communities of color and rural neighborhoods, those living with disabilities and seniors, are not left behind in our vaccination plans. Look, our plan is as clear as it is bold. Get more people vaccinated for free. Create more places for them to get vaccinated. Mobilize more medical teams to get the shots in people's arms. Increase supply and get it out the door as soon as possible.
Go, go, go.
This will be one of the most challenging operational efforts ever
This is
undertaken
G.I.
by our
Joe.
country. But you have my word that we will manage the hell out of this operation. But as I said last night, we need funding from Congress,
Because lack of security.
to make this happen.
I
I'm
heard
optimistic.
today by
I'm convinced the American people are
a
ready
normal
to spare
person.
no effort and no expense to get this done.
I don't know what she looks into, but she
All
seems
these
pretty
steps
normal.
will take some time.
And she's like, yeah, I
May
heard the
take many
inauguration
months
wasn't
to
going to
get where we
happen
need
and
to
Trump's
be.
going to be sworn in
There
March.
will be stumbles.
I'm like, what the fuck?
And
Where
yes,
does that
I know
come
so
from?
much has already been asked of you. And when we're sworn in next week, we're going to ask you to keep the faith and keep following what we know works. One of our 100-day challenges is to
And then I thought,
mask
too,
up
also,
everyone. The day we're
A word of a
inaugurating,
thief, right?
I'm going to ask you to mask up for the next 100 days.
I
This is
also
not
thought
a
about
political issue.
How I was saying President-elect Biden was kind of weird for him to do that. Which it is super weird, but it also did spiral out of control on basically a world scale. Everybody's seeing Twitter. And Mexico going and starting basically an alliance to go and stop big tech media from being able to ban people. And so I thought, well, if he's taken over and they want to make sure that Twitter's still okay, even though they banned the president, they could be like, oh, Joe Biden, can you set up an account to make the rest of the world not think that we're doing something bad, kind of in a sense. But he can't set up an official office of the president-elect. That is not real. What are they doing here? I didn't even read that.
And I will issue an executive order to require
It's not real.
masks where I have the authority to do that. And for federal workers, and federal property, on interstate travel, like trains and planes. We'll also be working with mayors and governors in red states and blue states and require
They're trying to make it seem like, oh, this is the Constitution. We were elected. We were
Look, I hope
following
we
it.
now know this is not a political issue. This is about saving lives. I know it's become a partisan issue, but what a stupid, stupid thing for it to happen. This is a patriotic act. We're asking you, we're in a war with this virus. And experts saying have shown that wearing a mask from now until April will save as many as 50,000 lives.
An expert. No.
Quite frankly, it was shocking.
Wait.
Save. And experts saying have shown that wearing a mask from now until April will save as many as 50,000 lives.
Where's
Quite
that coming
frankly, it
from?
was shocking to see members of the Congress
That's complete
Capitol's
BS. Where's that
under
coming
siege.
from, Joe?
by a deadly mob of thugs refusing to wear a mask while they were in secure locations. I'm so proud of my congresswoman right here in the state of Delaware, Lisa Brunt
No mask as he goes to touch his face.
Rochester, trying to hand out masks while people are lying on the floor,
Looks like he's looking at people.
huddled
now.
up. And a Republican colleagues refusing to put them on. What the hell's the matter with them? It's time to grow up. Result? At least 4 members of Congress to date, including a cancer survivor, now have COVID-19 who were in those rooms.
What?
For God's sake, wear a mask, if not for yourself, for your loved ones, for your country. These are real matters of life and death. We need you to stick with hand washing, social distancing, and avoid indoor gatherings with people outside your own household.
Stick by yourself.
We'll be a partner to the states and cities. So where things are working, we'll help do more of the good work.
More
and when
government.
things can improve, we'll bring more
More.
resources to bear to get folks tested and vaccinated. I promise you, we're going to work closely with nonprofits and with the private sector,
I know some
who
guy.
we know
It's ticking me off,
all
but
want to partner
I have
with
to
us
hear what he
in
says.
this effort.
Dude
The
might be
more
the
people
president.
we vaccinate, and the faster we do it, the sooner we can put this pandemic behind us. And the sooner we can build our economy back better and get back to our lives and to our
Build
loved
back
ones.
better. There's a minute left.
As we're seeing during this pandemic, we can't solve our problems as a divided nation. The only way we come through this is if we come through together as Americans, fellow Americans, and as the United States of America. Vice President-elect Harris and I ran on that vision.
What are you doing?
Starting at noon on Wednesday, that's exactly how we're going to govern and ask for your help. God bless you all and keep you safe, and may God protect our troops. Thank you.
Mr. President, do you feel safe about Wednesday?
No questions. Kamala Harris just
Yes.
walked away. Oh, what?
Based on the intelligence that you've seen.
Yes. Safe, and may God protect our troops.
What did he
Thank
say?
you.
Mr. President, do you feel safe about Wednesday based on the intelligence that you've seen?
Yes.
Do you feel safe to come out? Yes. He's coming out. He's coming out. Alright, let's watch the Mike Lindell. My Pillow guy.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is LoftyCast.
Does he actually read
We've
it?
got some breaking news coming out, and it's going viral right now. The My Pillow guy. Everybody knows the My Pillow guy. Everyone.
Yeah.
I don't know why anybody would hate that guy. He seems like a great guy. He's American-owned business. But the My Pillow.
Not only American-owned business, dude was on crack. Saved his life by getting off crack and then starting a business. And now it's the biggest infomercial in the nation. One of the biggest companies in the nation. Helped out Trump a shit ton. And I was talking about this the last week. But Mike Lindell was the guy that came out and said Donald Trump will be our president. And he said that just a couple days ago. Everybody's like, oh, he's crazy. Or about a week ago, probably now.
Pillow guy standing in front of the White House right now with papers in his hand. And it looks like a journalist took a picture, and you'll probably get the info before you even touch this video. But in the paper, it actually mentions Insurrection Act. It mentions martial law. It mentions foreign interference. It mentions China and Iran. It even mentions saving the country. And the names of Sidney Powell, Bill Olson, Kurt Olson, and Kash Patel. Now you tell me, why is My Pillow guy standing in front of the White House with papers talking about this stuff? On the heading, it even says, immediately to save, you can kind of tell what it says, to save the Constitution. Now, could this
Jeez.
be the My Pillow guy acting alone, or is he acting with Sidney Powell and all these people trying to tell Trump to hurry to do this thing to save the Constitution, save the country? Because we know that the My Pillow guy filmed a video of himself on an airplane saying that Trump would be the president for the next 4 years, and he was confident.
What is the name
What
right
is
here?
going on, everybody? Comment down below what you think because I don't think the Q people have it right. I just don't. You guys are going way too far, but I think Trump is wild enough to pull something off, and I think we can all agree on that one, can't we? So what
Oh
is the
my
My Pillow guy
gosh.
doing? Maybe he has some access to clearance. I don't know. I mean, Trump really liked that guy, American-owned business. So maybe My Pillow guy knows some stuff that we don't.
Why would it be My Pillow guy? I don't understand. Someone said, I hope it was, because I heard about this earlier, and I was watching Timcast, and someone was like, I hope it goes through, and it's a civil war. I don't, but that's what this person's saying. And it'll be called, years from now, it'll be called the Great Pillow Fight of 2021. Because it's My Pillow, dude. It's like, fucking A. Is there some shit going down here? What is this? What are you? Let's read the bottom here. USA warns of variant global deaths hit 2 million. Blader Frisbee, what's going on, dude? Yeah. What about Nancy Pelosi basically trying to do insurrection by requesting the Pentagon disregard all of the president's orders, and them responding with, that's insurrection, man. Mexico posts daily record rise in COVID cases 2 days straight. Did they just start taking tests? Kim Jong-un's new missile points to early provocations for Biden. What? Private equity firms seize on IPO boom with consumer assets. WhatsApp's new privacy rules are sparking alarm. What are your opinions on Biden COVID plans? He wants to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour and plans on rolling out vaccine ASAP so we go back to where we were 2 years ago. No, he never said that. He said he wants to do that for a year, wear a mask for a year, and then use all the federal funding to go and set up sites for vaccines. And raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour does not make any sense. In rural areas where people make $8 an hour, or for waiters who make $3 or $4 an hour, but they make $20 in tips. And then when they get paid $15 an hour, now they're losing $5 an hour.
Brit & Co. is a new media company that largely
Plus,
reaches millennial women
whatever their
and
hourly
aims
wage
to
was.
inspire, inform, and empower them to be more
It's not good,
creative.
man.
My past is largely out of tech.
Overall, the whole plan is to spend a bunch of money, federal, and then also raise the minimum wage, which is going to allow a lot of people not to even be able to afford to run their business.
Companies.
You know,
I work
people
at
don't just
Google
have millions
and
of dollars
Apple,
sitting
and I
around.
started realizing the world of
Just
digital
being able to
media.
pay their business or pay their employees.
COVID-19 infections, including
That's why they
the
pay them the way that they
United
do.
States. There are 846 cases worldwide and 25 deaths. Today will be the first COBRA meeting to discuss the
They say
spreading
most
of
business
coronavirus.
owners, when they start a business, they don't take a salary for the first 5 years. So they don't make any money for 5 years.
The WHO warned world leaders to stay on alert.
Make no mistake, this is though an emergency in China.
It's gonna be
It
hyperinflation.
has not yet become a global health emergency. It may yet become one.
The Second Amendment protects the First Amendment,
The
man.
virus would have a chance to spread as families travelled for the Lunar New Year holiday and foreign nationals returned to their home countries.
Obviously, we're doing everything we can to
The second was set up because of the first.
that do come to this country are properly screened and checked.
We got a leaflet as we landed. However, that was all in English, wasn't in Chinese.
Yeah, and then
Growing number of
5 years
cases
from
in
now,
China was a worry
there's going to be a
for
national program where we have to go and work for China to pay off the national debt.
Arise in this country, we are well prepared and well equipped to deal with them.
Britons with families in China knew to take
They'll
precautions.
be like, yeah, you guys got to
Remember
pay
the
some of this
SARS
shit off.
outbreak from nearly
Give us all
20
your
years
natural
ago.
water
That disease was more deadly, but COVID-19 was more
and your
easily
resources.
transmitted.
I think the best we can do is just protect ourselves and trying to not get contact to everybody out there.
Not a lot of people are aware.
Jesus,
of
this is
right
the
now.
global
That's gonna be an issue.
freaking issue right now.
Chinese officials put Wuhan
COVID,
under
COVID,
lockdown,
COVID.
That's the view from the apartment. Completely deserted down there.
leaving British nationals living there uncertain about what would happen to them.
My family's so worried. My mum, she's texting me every 5 minutes, calling me every couple of hours.
I think I speak to the majority of the British expat community. This is a scary situation.
It makes a lot of sense. A lot of small businesses will leave and the larger ones will not be leading us. Not good result. Yeah.
The decision to lock down.
Think about rural
was seen
areas
as
where they
draconian.
don't even make a lot of money as a business, but that business
Working in the
has like
UK
3
for
people working there and they have their jobs and they grow up
They know what was to
and they move on to better things, but they worked at the small little business making $8 an hour and getting by.
Britons were
The big
repatriated from
corporations,
Wuhan, leaving one quarantine
they're gonna be
for another
using
once back
robots in
the
fucking
UK.
5 years.
Day one of quarantine, we spent almost 40 hours on the road travelling from Wuhan to the Wirral.
The risk to the UK was seen as low until the number of cases
It's
increased
basically like,
significantly
oh
around
yeah,
the world.
how do we force out the small business?
I'm declaring a public health emergency of international concern over the global outbreak of novel coronavirus.
We're worried that if the Chinese authorities
Normal
cannot get on top of
coronavirus?
this in the next few weeks, we may get to a situation where this begins to
Dude's
spread around the
eyebrows.
world, in a quite major way.
Breaking news related.
Then, news the virus reached the UK.
Why does this guy look like a demon, dude? Look at this. Why would you put this guy up there? Yeah, honestly. Oh, we still got the Capitol alive? Oh, yeah, we still got some cops out there. Looks like less over here. Yes, 70% if you make more than 400,000. Not good.
Right? His wife would never have resigned if McConnell was supportive of Trump. McConnell is a nasty guy. All I wanted was case law to be passed. to
Mitch
protect
McConnell.
Americans from being slaughtered by foreign felons who had been deported. McConnell wouldn't do it. Single-handedly killed it. Why? Because I proposed it. Who's that, O'Reilly? So he is a nasty guy. Well, he's a Senate minority leader now, not the majority leader. But there's a line he won't go
Oh
over.
my god, Ocasio-Cortez
He doesn't
freaking
wanna
out.
put Republican senators in an embarrassing position. Therefore, there's not going to be any trial as long as McConnell is in charge. Once Schumer gets in, we don't know, but Trump's gone then. Then it would be litigated.
Von Miller under
courts and all.
criminal probe?
All have it now.
For what?
We live in a corrupt society. Media is corrupt. Politicians are corrupt. Parties aren't looking out for you. The way it is. I think it'll change.
Undisclosed charges?
Yeah, so the FBI and the left-wing media are working together to gin up the threat of violence on Inauguration Day. So some kooks, nuts, far-right, insane people are putting out, we're gonna do this thing. Nobody's gonna do anything. All right, maybe a couple of nuts standing there with a sign, but the way the feds are prosecuting the people in the Capitol riots,
let's look it up.
a lot of those people are gonna do hard times. A lot of those people are gonna go to federal prison, unlike what happened over the summer. Now, I know. Oh, I heard today on talk radio
How do you
one guy
spell
was
it?
saying, well, what's the difference between a bodega and the U.S. Capitol? You know, if I got to get into that, I really don't have time. But
VON.
people know now that if you start to screw around with the fundamental structure of the United States, you're now not going to be protected. Even on the local level, it's harder to for the Antifas and Black Lives Matter people to get away with this now. Very, very much harder because of this exposition at the Capitol last week. Hey, I got a crash course in home title theft, and you better pray this doesn't happen to you because it'll ruin you financially. Here's how it works. The legal titles to all of our homes are kept online where they can be hacked. A cyber thief finds your home's title.
Okay, let's go DuckDuckGo and see if that works better.
Quit claim deed stating you sold the home to him. Then the thief takes out loans against your home until your equity is gone. You will not know until the collection calls pour in. Insurance, banks, and common identity theft programs cannot protect you. Home Title Lock does protect you. And in the unlikely event you do become a victim of title theft while a member, Home Title Lock will spend up to $250,000 in legal fees to help restore your home's title. So please go to HomeTitleLock.com and register your address to see if you're already a victim. Then use code RADIO for 30 free days of protection. That's code RADIO at HomeTitleLock.com.
Well, we got a fact check.
Hey guys, Buck Sexton here. If you love watching my show on the First TV, then make sure you stay connected with us on social media. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Parler. You can even watch us on YouTube. Stay connected and stay informed with First TV anywhere and everywhere.
Oh, it's at the bottom. Never mind.
See you there.
Fucking.
Don't have the First TV app yet? What are you waiting for? Download it.
I can't find it. Lou Dobbs.
Good evening, everybody. We may soon have new and explosive insight into what is the greatest political scandal in American history. The radical Dems and the deep state's efforts to overthrow President Trump. Hundreds of pages of depositions.
So it did come out, yeah. Obamagate's real. Spygate. Whatever you want to say.
Transcripts, and FBI evaluations.
Everyone keeps thinking Trump's going to do something he's not. Pence signed inauguration ceremony yesterday. Said Biden will be inaugurated on the 20th.
Document release will follow on the reporting of just the
you see the stuff that came out.
Who here last night reported on the upcoming release. We'll be talking with John Solomon about what we can expect and what he knows. Here next, the documents to be
the one we watched yesterday,
declassified by President Trump.
Right.
And among the bombshell revelations, an admission by former
First 48. Did you see the MyPillow guy? The papers he had.
The author of
some
the
weird shit.
Trump dossier, that he leaked information to the U.S. media from his dirty Trump dossier in an effort to distract from Hillary Clinton's ongoing email scandal and the reopening of the FBI investigation into that scandal. That admission, made in the fall of 2017, the documents promise to further expose the radical left and the deep state's plot, hatched by none other than Hillary Clinton, then candidate Donald Trump's opponent, to overthrow the Trump presidency later on. A plot that has been underway since the summer of 2016.
2016,
On
before
June
he was
13th,
president.
2016, President Obama's former campaign manager laid it all out for everyone to see. David Plouffe tweeted this, quote, "It is not enough to simply beat Trump. He must be destroyed thoroughly. His kind must not rise again."
His kind? What?
That tweet, coming just weeks before James Comey initially closed the FBI's investigation.
That's kind of fucked
Hillary
up.
Clinton's
First
email
48.
server scandal.
Doing a lot better for
Just
himself
before.
now.
And it was that same summer in which the Clinton campaign constructed the plot to distract from her scandal by ginning up the false Russia collusion fraud against then candidate Trump. And Plouffe's tweet also, curiously preceded by only a month
Oh,
and
no,
a
I
half,
didn't.
the FBI's first effort to frame General Michael Flynn. President Trump's declassification order threatens to expose any and all members of the deep state swamp, the radical Dems who have feverishly worked
What's that
to
one on?
undermine, to overthrow his presidency, and to block his agenda. Today, one of the gatekeepers of the swamp, none other than
Another doctor, though.
Senator Lindsey Graham, undercut the president once again. Graham's Senate Judiciary Committee released the transcripts of 11 interviews that Graham had kept hidden and unavailable from officials involved in investigating the origins of Obamagate. They include interviews from the likes of former DOJ officials Bruce Orr, Dana Boente. All of the interviews released were conducted before the November 3rd election, and Senator Graham sat on every single one of them.
Senator Graham still
Senator
holding.
Graham also continues, well, to disappoint the American people, to say the least, to deny their right to know. And he had this brazen remark about his
My pill guy
document
said it like a week
today.
ago.
We have released as much material as possible.
A lot of people
but
are saying
some
this.
classified material has still been withheld. This, ladies and gentlemen, is one sorry excuse for a senator. Joining us tonight is John Solomon, editor-in-chief of Just the News, best-selling
Yeah,
author,
John Solomon.
great American. And John, let's start with this document dump from Senator Graham, since it is the most immediate development. 11 interviews that he sat on. This man
Go
is
back to March of
contemptible,
last year.
and
March
appalling.
of last year. Yeah, it's remarkable. I think Senator Graham was just simply trying to crash President Trump's last declassification party.
It's
some
gonna
interesting
be
stuff in there, things that would have been nice
crazy
to know
weekend,
before the election.
man.
I'll give you a good example. Steve Laycock, the executive assistant director of the FBI.
Democrats are lighting
says
the fire
that
right now.
Everybody knew inside the FBI and the State Department that Christopher Steele was so bad that he actually thought the U.S. government had a consulate in Miami when none was existent. This is a guy we're trusting to give us intelligence, and he doesn't even know the Russians can't be doing what he claims because there is no consulate in Miami. Laycock testifies to the committee. Everybody was talking about. We knew about that, and yet, while they knew he was that bad off, that Christopher Steele was that bad off, they were representing to the FISA court that he was a solid guy, no derogatory information. Those sort of revelations would have been nice last summer, last fall, not 4 days or 5 days before Joe Biden takes office.
There are so many revelations that we have received, including the fact that Hillary Clinton authored the plot to distract from her own scandal, the email scandal, and to have official Washington, our government, participate in a plot
I don't know what
to
that means.
block the candidacy of Donald Trump and to overthrow his presidency. What is stunning to me, John, is with that knowledge, and it's separate from this, in part it's separate from this release of documents we're expecting from the White House. We know this. And the radical Dems, Nancy Pelosi, proceed with this impeachment fraud once again against the president. The national left-wing media is so intertwined, so complicit with the Democratic Party and the deep state that they're not even acknowledging. The American people, many of the, if not most Americans, don't realize the.
What do you mean modulating? Like I can't play the video? Done one of them, but not those two. Yeah, that's what people are saying, that Pence won't be in there, so that's what Trump means by a new administration. Is that it's going to be a new administration. I might be going to Mar-a-Lago. I don't know. That's what he said is his second White House now. His house in Mar-a-Lago.
The hoax that's been perpetrated on them, and that is this plot hatched by Hillary Clinton and the Dems to destroy Donald Trump. David Plott wasn't kidding when he said what he did.
No, he wasn't kidding. You know, the great thing about David Plouffe, he tells you exactly what he's going to do. And the Republicans have been asleep at the switch for 4 years as he's told the American public what he planned to do. The reason why the media, the mainstream media, is silent is that they were primary co-conspirators in the creation, dissemination, and sustaining of a false narrative for 2 and 3 years. And to this day, by not acknowledging their failures, by not covering the reversal of the story with the same aggressiveness that they first put it on the front pages, they have disturbed the American public. And that's why the Gallup poll that came out right after Christmas, American news media are held at the lowest esteem in American history, and 30% of Americans, a third of America, don't believe a single word that comes from the news media. They have made their own bed, just like Twitter and Facebook, who've lost $50 billion of video
Mar-a-Lago don't want him?
in the
What do you
last
mean?
week. The American people are beginning to revolt against these institutions.
That is a dangerous thing to say. But factual at this point. Scary shit. But what do you mean Mar-a-Lago don't want him there? You piss the people off there? I know all of his golf courses now won't be hosting championships. They literally are backing out businesses all over. That's what I was gonna say. I thought he owned it. Like, what? What? Why? Oh shit, January 14, 2021. Came out yesterday. Trump plans to live at Mar-a-Lago, employ some current aides. Donald Trump plans to fly to his Mar-a-Lago resort in Florida the morning of Joe Biden's inauguration, where several current White House staff are expected to work for him and his son-in-law Jared Kushner after his presidency, according to people familiar with the matter. Trump intends to live at Palm Beach Resort, the people said, though some of future neighbors are trying to stop him from taking up permanent residence. The neighbors.
violence and vandalism have absolutely no place in our country and no place in our movement.
White House is considering holding a send-off event for Trump before he leaves Washington. What? But no final decisions have been made about the format or location of the event, the person said. Former President Barack Obama delivered farewell remarks in 2017 at joint... Wait, what? Are they saying Barack Obama said bye in 2017? What does that mean? This week, the State Department extended an invitation to Biden and his wife Jill to stay at Blair House, a historic home near the White House, the night before inauguration. Biden's accepted. People familiar matters say continuing a tradition for president-elect. They just they're giving out these guys' names? His body man? Oh shit, after speculation among aides he might leave earlier, Trump now plans to depart Washington for Florida the morning of January 20th. The president on January 8th announced he would not attend Biden's inauguration after his false claims election, whatever. A lawyer representing several of Trump's neighbors has demanded that Palm Beach declare that the outgoing president can't live at Mar-a-Lago, citing an agreement he made with the city in the early 1990s when he converted the property from a private residence to a private club, according to the Washington Post. So far, the city is not known to have done anything that would prevent Trump from living there. Hey. It's his property. I mean, they're telling him he can't live at his property. It's a private club. He's part of the private club because he owns the private club. What are you fucking talking about? You do whatever you want. Trump's staff have begun to vacate the White House on Wednesday. Photographer Reuters snapped the president's trade advisor Peter Navarro carrying a large framed photograph of one of Trump's meetings with the Chinese President Xi Jinping out of the White House. Photographers also saw Meadows' wife Debbie Meadows packing a stuffed pheasant into the trunk of a car along with boxes. Oh, yeah.
Here are some of the comments from the debate.
Well,
yes, there's speculation still, the first 48, that it could be, that the troops are there not to protect Biden, but to protect from riots when Trump doesn't give in. I'm not saying it's true. I don't know what the hell's going on. Definitely made it a lot more appealing with Mike Lindell, the great pillow fight of 2021. No, he's chill though. He's not a crack addict, dude. He was a crack addict, and usually when you see people who went through drugs and then they get off drugs and then they go and do like amazing things, it's because people who are at their lowest and go through all the lows that life can hand you know the difference. And when you're at your low, you can only rise up, and they continue to ride that train up, and they keep going up and up and up. And now he's working with the president off of doing an infomercial on a pillow he decided to make because his pillow sucked. It's like, what? That's pretty fucking amazing. So, yeah, some crazy shit.
They had better, because this government is as corrupt as I could possibly have ever imagined. Could you, in all seriousness, could you have ever possibly imagined that one political party, the Democrats, would be this corrupt, would seize control of a government as they attempt to overthrow a president with members of the deep state, as they have been doing since 2016?
If I was looking for a good movie, I'd hope that'd be the plot line. It'd be really interesting. The sad part is this is actually historically unfolded before our eyes. You have the alignment of news media bureaucrats and the Democrat.
It's like twice, 3 times the amount of fucking Watergate.
Party carrying out a 4-year political dirty trick whose origins, or the origins of which, began with the desire to keep Hillary Clinton from having to answer to her email scandal. It is atrocious, and everybody knew it. President Obama knew it in July of 2016. The FBI knew about it in October of 16, and yet for 3 and 4 years, false stories from Adam Schiff down to the front page of the New York Times were force-fed to the American people. All of those institutions that have let us down deserve accountability, and Americans have that ability. They vote with their checkbook. They vote with their ballots. They have to take stake in what we're about to learn.
Wait, these guys? Or you're saying the QAnon people? JFK Jr., you want to see something crazy? I don't know if it's real, but I looked into it kind of. Oh shit, images. Dude, he looked just like this too. He had the hat on. Let me go to all. Washington Post, TMZ, Pinterest, Rolling Stones, Politico, Daily Mail. What the fuck is this? Honestly, I looked this up like a month ago and it came up right on the pictures. Fine, I'll go to DuckDuckGo, I guess. Fuck you, Google. Am I really gonna have to start, like, they're taking shit off, like that? It's conspiracy theory. Right here. Okay, I find it instantly. Instantly again. That's him right there. If you have, there's a picture comparison that they do that's a really good fucking picture, but let me do JFK Jr. Right here. again. Look at with the hat and that other picture. You see what I'm talking about here? And they're at consistent rallies too, because she was wearing a different color hat in a different picture, and they were in different positions. Oh, look at right there. Oh, right here. Oh, the Elvis conspiracy has some backing too. They seen him. I forget where they seen him. I think it was at the White House actually. Oh, right here. What is this? I think he was at a MAGA rally.
An extraordinary photograph has emerged that conspiracy theorists believe shows
This
that
voice.
Elvis Presley is alive and well, aged 82. The images of a bearded man, who some say is a dead ringer for the late king of rock and roll, show him in the grounds of the singer's Graceland home. Elvis Presley died on August 16, 1977, aged 42 after a heart attack, but ever since he died there have been countless theories that he faked his own demise to escape the pressures of fame. The new images have cropped up on Facebook page evidence Elvis Presley is alive and were taken on what would have been the music icon's 82nd birthday. George Nichopoulos, the Memphis doctor known as Dr. Nick, was blamed by millions of fans for Presley's untimely death because he dished out prescription drugs to the star. Copious amounts of barbiturates. The music legend had the unwelcome side effect of increasing his already monstrous
Michael
appetite.
Jackson.
It is thought in the days leading up to his death Elvis was gorging so much his colon ballooned to breaking point, leading to heart failure.
Impersonators that looks like that? If you were an Elvis impersonator, why the fuck would you look like that? And it does seem like dude's got some money, he's matching. Looks like he's alone. He's trying to be a little bit conspicuous. The sun doesn't look like it's out. Nobody else is wearing shades. Actually, he might have came with someone. Look at this girl's got coffee too. Looks like he might have some coffee. Who is this lady? And why is this guy looking at him?
Elvis was gorging so much his colon ballooned to breaking point, leading to heart failure.
Oh, you shared a link? Wait, are you Lucid Drops? Oh wait. No, that's the one we already watched, right? Yeah, it's My Pillow guy. Oh. Lucid Drops, the new one. Greg, Lake of Emerson, Lake and Palmer. What is this about? Oh, doctor video with Alex Jones. Okay, yeah. Let's go. Video is probably on there. What was the doctor's name? Oh, the Great Lakes one talks about.
200. Well, they are of course iconic in the sense of who played them. You know, I mean, they're the choice of the king and everyone in his wake. But the beautiful thing about them is the tone. It is the greatest rhythm guitar I think ever made, and it's good. But also, it's got punch.
We are under full-scale communist siege. They have already taken us, the voice that we have, or in the process of taking us out of the free speech realm. The next thing that they're going for is the guns. That they, meaning the communists, there has never been a communist overthrow.
Oh no, you're good, man. I love music.
Millions of people have not died, and the guns were the first thing they wanted. I'm told, Alex, that the demand that the Chinese overlords of the Democrats and the Republicans that sold out, traitors in both, are demanding that American people give up their guns. They're demanding they be taken from us all, and they demand that anybody who will not go along with, quote, the plan of revolution must be put to death. Now, I want to make something really clear. I'm sorry I'm getting fired up right now. Thank you for the opportunity to come on. Ladies and gentlemen, the Chinese are on record as saying when they invade the United States, they're going to kill every man, woman, and child. By the way, that includes the Democratic and Republican traitors. They do not have any qualm. General Hao Xian, Haotian, Jeff Nyquist did a fabulous article on him. They plan to kill every man, woman, and child.
Here's me playing the guitar already.
Well, of the Q movement.
Left-handed on a right-handed guitar. When I had my dreads. It's a little shit I made up. It's not that one? Shit. That's me, dude. Look it, dude. I used to have dreads. Look it. I have 1 subscriber. Look it, you want to see the other videos on here? I'll show them to you. I made this one. I was on a little program. Just a clock. It says now. Time is now. Time is now. And then it goes into some weird shit. Shit, the end of the video gets crazy. Oh my god. Oh, it goes back to it? What in the fuck, dude? Alright, let's see. It's a little video I made with the Windows player. Military memo? Dude, this is what it says. Steve Quayle? Oh, Steve Peisenack. Military memo? What the fuck? That's not it. Two days ago? Joint Chief Staff? Violence, sedition, and insurrection. That was right after the Capitol, too, so. Who knows? What the hell just came up? Oh my god. Is this not it? Okay, right here.
Alex, quiet down a bit. You've never been in a military coup. You do not understand what that means. You do not understand how quickly we work and how long we've been preparing for this. I kept saying to you months ago, this is a fascist system coming from the left, from Obama, from Brennan. When does a director of the CIA, who's a Catholic moron, from Fordham, screwed up in Saudi Arabia, becomes the deputy director of the CIA, was an analyst, and then brings forth another? There were over 400 people from all
and worked in the State Department psychological warfare and helped found Delta Force, and he co-wrote the books with Tom Clancy. I mean, he's a real spook compared to all the armchair quarterbacks that never actually done anything. And he grew up as a refugee from Europe in Cuba, that came to the U.S. And I like Steve. He's been on the show like 19 years. He was trying to be optimistic. You know, I think that's why he did.
Been coming on the show 19 years.
There was some watermarking of ballots. I don't think it was done system-wide this election. It was done with the states. Democrats put out their own fake ballots. But he made that prediction that, you know, Trump would be able to turn this around. Now a lot of things have gone sideways. I want to get his take on that. I want to get his take on what happened at the Capitol. Provocateur groups trying to stage false flags this weekend. And I know the globalists are controlling some of the Q movement right now. They're trying to manipulate us into violence. So there's a lot to cover. Just
yeah, he said spook too.
Of the waterfront. SteveMachinik.com is his website. Thanks for joining us. What do you want to tackle first?
It's my pleasure. Let's first tackle the fact that we are now officially in a military coup. What has happened and why I was part of it is because I've had a history of doing soft coups in the United States and what we call hard coups overseas, overthrowing regimes using the military. In this case, we had what we call a hard coup. It was initiated, as I said, a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, by our cyber command using special forces. There were over 400 people from all parts of the intelligence community. I won't go into the names. But in effect now, we are about to arrest Pelosi. We're going to arrest Biden, Hunter Biden, Mitt Romney.
All right, can anybody explain this to me? Why Nancy Pelosi was not the Speaker of a House when they put in impeachment? Why she was a bystander until the end, but they still referred to her as the Speaker, even though she was there, but she wasn't dictating the House. That didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Is she not the Speaker of the House anymore?
You're talking about a whole list of individuals whom I identified on this show for years. When I said Gina Haspel has to go, she went. When I said Barr was a CIA operative, he went. When I told you Pence was not to be believed because he came out of a Democratic Catholic background, became an evangelical Christian, he left. So what's happening now is that we are literally in a military coup. That means, in effect, this country will watch the arrests that will come out of this. We have already arrested, and basically overseas, we have taken out the Pope, whom I've identified for over 30 years as a terrorist.
Yeah. What's going on with the Pope? Any updates on that? Where's the fucking Pope at, dude?
When he was director of the Jesuits, had killed 3 of our American nuns, 2 of our Jesuits. We arrested a young man an older man from the State Department, Stefani Serini, who basically leaked all the information, used Leonardo, the sites going up to the satellites, which were controlled by the Vatican. We in turn
I heard from a normal person say, if anybody can figure out what the hell this means, but the 20th isn't happening, and Trump's getting put in March 4th was the date that I got for whatever reason, March 4th. If that can get verified.
Accepted all that information and were able to get, along with Nancy Pelosi's computer.
She's a regular
by the way,
person.
There was no rioting in the Capitol. I happen to know 3 to 4
she seems just regular.
from my town who said it was very peaceful. The police took down
Well, the Pope
barriers,
hasn't been seen.
And in effect, what people don't know is we sent special forces operators in there to take Pelosi's computer. Now, where does this all fit in? Number one, I wrote about this 27 years
we read the
ago,
report,
state of
but
emergency. If anybody wants to
why is he under
understand
house
what the
arrest?
real coup is about, then go on my site, read State of Emergency, or listen to the audiobook. Number 2, and this is important for you, Alex, to understand, and all of the listeners, you were the method through which we were able to implement the coup. It wasn't, when you used to ask me, how did I know what I was doing, or how could I predict it? The truth was, and still is, and by the way, you did an excellent interview with Mike Flynn. The truth is, you were the vehicle through which I was promoting the necessary actions that had to be accomplished. Think of that for a moment. You were the first entity as a banned video you identified 19 years ago when you came forth and I associated with you on 9/11. Subsequently, many generals in Special Forces and Cyber Command and NSA elsewhere understood that the wars that were created by Cheney, who will be under arrest,
this guy seems way connected, and he seems very out there. He seems like another Alex Jones, but like a military dude. Is this dude in the military, or is he just a doctor? Where's he from?
That he was in the avoidance of going into the draft by Mitt Romney, a Mormon, who will also be arrested for the corruption he committed with Bain Capital and elsewhere. He will probably be desanctified from the LDS. All of these elements came out through you, Alex Jones. The reason we never used the New York Times,
The police were there the other night.
Post, we didn't do any of the
We were
others.
watching
we
it.
Understood who controlled them.
They had a
I knew
blackout.
about the Murdoch family from the day they came over in 1958.
Because the police were there.
I never trusted Murdoch. I didn't trust his family. What people didn't know, unfortunately, is that Murdoch's mother's an Orthodox Jew, and he is a totally corrupt individual and a coward, along with his family, who brought in all of these stations and eventually kicked you and others off of it. So you were chosen as the method through which we could initiate a military coup.
Okay, well, we didn't talk about this beforehand, and I certainly don't want any type of stuff. I went to have a peaceful demonstration to show our numbers to expose election fraud. So how does a bunch of people acting like idiots in the Capitol signify, that's General McInerney or whatever, saying guy's got her laptop? Wouldn't you just dial in and grab the information digitally? I'm totally confused here.
You shouldn't be confused. Number one, the people who went there and were at the Capitol, the people I know went in peacefully.
Look at all the paper on his desk.
Involved in taking something out.
We were sitting there watching it.
Special forces. This is not a particular general. I do not know which generals are involved, and the generals that I do know who are involved do not want me to speak about it again. What you are, again, Alex, let me explain it. We marked the computers. We marked the ballots. We marked everything that was done was a sting operation. Nothing has changed.
That's a bunch of BS, Lawrence Watchman. I think the narrative is out. Iran spilled the beans on the Galactic Federation. Everybody's talking aliens now. And everybody was like, 2020 bingo card. Make sure they call aliens.
And what was done, it was done by Trump, a businessman who understood the degree of corruption that existed among the Democrats. This isn't just something about the world control.
It's like a sovereign nation.
This was the concept of a fascist state coming in with the notion of a coronavirus, which was not lethal, using Fauci, another Catholic who was trained by the Jesuits.
Dr. Pachinik, listen. I don't know what's going on here because you've come on the show like 19 years, give us a lot of good information. But, I mean, it looks like Trump's leaving in 7 days. You're saying this is a coup? I know they testified in the Supreme Court of Italy that they engaged in the fraud. I know you said the Vatican was involved weeks ago. Now it's in the news. Come back and talk to me like I'm 5 years old and explain all this. The article, Supreme...
Okay. Alex Jones just got called out saying, you started all of this. We are doing a coup because of you. Is what this guy is telling Alex Jones. Alex Jones said, no, we did this peacefully. We were trying to do it peacefully. We're not trying to advocate for anything like that. I don't know what you're talking about. Come back on. Talk to me like I'm 5 because you seem to be going way too intense. And what this could be is deep state as well. Just go on and say, oh yeah, Alex Jones did it all. We need to stop private servers. We need to stop people like Alex Jones who do their own thing. We tried to block him, and he still perceived, and he created all of this. And at the highest levels of government, we're convincing people. What's a pop filter?
Court of Italy, legal counsel testifies about 2020
like
election
for
interference operation.
the little pop-up thing?
By U.S. officials, votes flipped.
I need a whole new computer, man.
System from
I can't do much on this thing.
We'll talk about that when we come back on the other side.
It's NASA Tech.
Newswars.com. Tomorrow's news. Hey, don't understand me. Against the deep state on this. How is it a successful military coup against the deep state that we know is there and is corrupt? The globalist arm of the deep state, I guess, if Biden gets in 7 days, or are you saying Trump's going to get in, there's about to be mass arrest? We don't have a lot of time here.
Oh,
like
I gotta let my dog out.
What are you saying is about to happen?
I'm about to say that Biden is not going to be the president of the United States. What I'm going to be saying is that there have been massive arrests. And what I'm saying, in effect, is that we are in martial law and we have a military coup, which simply means that there is going to be a large number of people who are going to be arrested, detained, and will be tried by military tribunal. The reason it's military is because we no longer...
So there was a thing that came out the other day that someone suggested that Donald Trump is the best president of our lifetime. Possibly one of the greatest of them all. And he should also be arrested for crimes against humanity. For what he did, continuing Obama's work. So, if this were true, he did it as well. So,
no longer trust our CIA, we no longer trust our politicians, we do not trust our governors, we do not trust the senior officials who are in Congress or in the Senate. It's as simple as that. I said it to you years ago. I told you exactly who was going to lead. They left. I wrote the book 27 years ago about a military coup happening in the United States, state of emergency. It's as simple as that, Alex. There is no globalism that's going to be involved. We have shut down Pakistan. We have shut down part of England. We have already
well, there is talk about the Pope stepping down.
Wait, listen for a minute. The Pope was arrested well over a year ago. And the reason why he was arrested, Alex, because on your show, I said this Pope was corrupt and had been involved with terrorist organizations 20 to 30 years ago. I was forbidden to take him out under Cyrus Vance.
Wait a minute, you're saying the Pope? Well, who's the guy we've seen traveling around the world in the last year?
You don't see anybody traveling around the world right now. You don't see anybody. Alex, get some of your nutraceuticals and understand that it's now. We're not talking about past years. We're not talking about past weeks. We're talking about the next few days and where we are right now. Now, I know
I didn't say greatest. I said one of the greatest.
One of us is wrong, but I'm not wrong.
He's definitely up there.
I mean, you can certainly get people thinking they're upside down when they're standing straight. I mean, you were the only guy that got the Camp David Accords through that nobody thought could happen. I mean, you've definitely done some psychological operations. But I'm just telling you, in 7 days, Pachinik, tell us who's gonna be the president and what's about to happen.
7 days. Let me repeat it again, Jones. It's going to be Trump. It will not be Biden. Biden's people will be arrested. There will be people who will be arrested. Pelosi, Biden, Schumer. That's what's going to happen.
Okay, so why 7 days? Why then?
And if I'm wrong, fine. Don't put me on your show. If I'm right, what else are you going to do? The point of fact is either you want to believe me or not. I don't particularly care what most people say or don't say. My job.
You've been on the show and given us a lot of good info over the years. You said that the East Coast and West Coast would collapse and everything would move to the South. I mean, you've said a lot of things that are true. I'm just sitting here.
He used to be former head of state. I mean.
And I see the left provocateuring right-wing groups for a bunch of.
Yeah, he used to be part of the cabinet.
And it doesn't look good to me. So I don't want to encourage people. Like you saw the Q guys going to the Capitol with zip ties. They thought they were on a secret mission to arrest people.
Alex, quiet down a bit. You've never been in a military.
Quiet down a bit.
Understand what that means.
This guy is either trying really hard to break news, or he is trying really hard to make Alex Jones look bad. And Alex Jones is saying, yeah, this is bad, this is bad, this is bad. Which, good on him, he's protecting his business, because he doesn't know what's happening either. He can't just go off of just this one guy. And I agree with it. We don't know what's happening, but this is what this guy is saying.
You do not understand how quickly we work and how long we've been preparing for this.
What? How quickly we work. Why now? Why the last second? Why the last hour? Why build the country up and the very last day you tell them no? Wouldn't that be the big... Well, it might be a better way to do it. Rather than do it over a slow process of drip, drip, drip. I don't know.
When I told you months ago that we were involved in this and we were taking over all the elements of the political system because we could not trust the Mitt Romneys, the governors, the senators, the judges. You're talking about when I said to you years ago, and you...
This is really bad. No trust in anybody. Administration started on distrust of the other side. It's going to be a one-party system, which has never worked out.
Still don't remember.
Yo, what's going on, Tim?
The Supreme Court justice has been indicted. He was corrupt at the time that he made the Obama case into a tax. He then went to Malta. He was paid off. He will be arrested. You're talking about Obama's people, where I said repeatedly he was a CIA operative. There was nothing about him that was real. He was a homosexual who had been on drugs, and everything he said.
Well, there's a lot of crazy stuff. You say be quiet, but I got to ask some questions here. Let's look at this. The Joint Chiefs of Staff put out a letter saying Biden will be president.
This guy's getting pissed. Like I said, either he's trying to unload it all, and this is the breaking news to prepare at least the side to let them know don't do anything. The military's got this, and Alex Jones is still just saying, all right, well, let's look into at least what you're saying. You're bringing up different instances. We can now bring in actual things you're talking about on why these people broke the law and why they actually should be arrested. So Alex Jones is still playing the safe card. This guy is getting pissed off because Alex Jones is slowing him down from releasing a message, it seems like.
Who is that from? What is that?
I don't know who the Joint Chiefs, that's not relevant to us because the real operational is not the Joint Chiefs of Staff. It's the military individuals who...
Okay, so Tim, what's going on right now? This guy's literally saying that in 7 days, a bunch of people are going to get arrested in the government, and Trump's taking back control. And it seems, like I said before, he's trying to break the news, and this guy's not. Alex Jones did backtrack on Sandy Hooks, but he also said there was weird things on why he was looking into it, so those things are still relevant on why he said it. It's just it probably didn't happen the way he had said it at first, and he backtracked his own statement days after, so he did this, and then they came after him months after saying and bringing up this instance. So it wasn't like it happened like Alex Jones said it and then the media said it and then he backtracked. No, he said it, he backtracked, and then months later they go and say, oh, Alex Jones is pushing this, he's crazy, and then it was like that came up. So
it's the CIA, it's other people.
Yeah, a big statement, Tim, and that's what it is. And Alex Jones is kind of playing the safe card right now. He's like, whoa, what are you talking about, dude? Like, because this guy literally said, Alex Jones, you were the guy. You were the one pushing all this. You were the one helping us the entire time and the main source. And so Alex Jones is like, whoa, what are you saying? Like, we were trying to do it peacefully. You're saying we're doing a coup? Like, what are you talking about? So this guy could be trying to throw Alex Jones under the bus, basically, is what I'm getting at. Is if we see it on the other angle, you look at every angle of it, I guess. We see it on the other angle. This guy's trying to throw Alex Jones on the bus right when the Obama administration or the Biden administration gets in, fucking goes and starts censoring everybody after Jack Dorsey said this isn't going to stop. This is going to continue after the inauguration. It's going to continue to keep going. Charlie Kirk knows people inside the White House, which this guy might say those people are compromised, but Charlie Kirk says that he knows people in there and that that's not happening. So there's two different stories inside the White House. This guy seems like he knows people in the White House. Mike Lindell just came out with his shit on a paper. Who knows what the fuck's gonna actually happen right now, but there's definitely some stuff happening.
Listen, I'm not lending credence to what you're saying, but having the Joint Chiefs go, it will be Biden, and the military must follow our orders, makes them sound weak. Why would they need to say that if there wasn't some internal battle going on?
Yep.
Do you remember when I said to you, General Mattis will...
That's exactly correct. Alex Jones did bring up a good point that if the military has to come out and say that we're doing this, but it's one portion of the military, is there an internal battle? So other people aren't making statements.
Will be thrown out. You remember that?
Yes, I do.
Was he thrown out?
Yeah, he was.
Okay. So what I'm getting at is there are different types of generals. There are those who are Secretary of State, like Cheney, who said this is treason. Then you got Liz Cheney, this incompetent fool from Wyoming, who said this is treason. Who is the biggest Benedict Arnold in the history of the 20th century that I've said to you for 19 years? The Cheney family is the equivalent of Benedict Arnold. He should have been arrested. He should have been executed for what he did all over the world. He sent our boys into war to Iraq and Afghanistan. I've had generals who were incompetent. Esper, did I tell you he would leave? He left, right? Did I tell you Mattis would leave? He left. Because he lied about what he did and who he was.
So
I can go on
is
and on.
right that they use this to get her laptop or whatever, according to you. Now, you did say something about Italy last time you were on, and a lot of stuff going on with that. What do you make of the Supreme Court hearing testimony that the Italian military was used with the German military, where they were counting the votes in the digital system, to go in and manipulate the servers to flip votes from Trump to Biden? What do you make of that?
What do I make of this? Just what I told you. We went after the Leonardo system, which came out of the Italian. There was a foreign service officer who was Italian Catholic and involved with the Italian Catholic Church. The Pope was involved. He was neutralized. It was sent up to Leonardo.
Okay, so that's on a different level. Hey, Lord's Watchman. When you look at National Guard is called in. National Guard is a federal thing. National Guard could have been called in Portland, and it was requested by the sheriffs, by the police. They were requesting the National Guard be sent in. They were requesting more troops when it was sent in, and both times they were denied. They were denied multiple times by the governor not to call the National Guard. It's a state's decision to ask for the federal government's help to take control of their own state. The National Guard can't just come in and take control of the state because there's separation between federal and state government. So that's not what the internal battle was as far as the state National Guard being able to is on a federal level if they wanted to, and if the sheriffs wanted to, and everybody wanted to, but the governor didn't want to. That can be the internal battle that he's talking about.
We picked it off of Leonardo and basically downloaded all of the information that was compromised, and basically proving that Biden was never elected legally. Biden will not be in the presidency. Kamala Harris will not be in the vice presidency. All of the appointments, including this new Secretary of Defense, who they think is wonderful, but I happen to know about him.
What about the new so-called CIA director? Well, I mean, let me say this. The one thing I know you're saying is true. The one thing I know you're saying is true is we are under martial law right now.
Okay, so there's a different theory that could be possible. I haven't heard anything about that. Pushed back in his own cabinet, saying I've heard people tell him not to, but I also heard the theory that if you go and you show the people that you're trying to do this, but you don't want to call insurrection and take control, because the national media will say, look, Trump is a dictator, which seems like what they were trying to do. Let's push it on a national level, get everybody to start freaking out. Well, Trump said, no, let's keep calm. They want me to look like a dictator, somebody who just goes up and takes control of everybody, and it's a police state, which insurrection would, the Insurrection Act would do that. And at this point, it almost would seem more apparent to be the opposite side, to go and show the people, like, we're trying to help you, but your state is not helping you, and we want to help you. And it would gather more people, more support. This is what happened in rural areas. This is what happened in suburbs. That in the cities, people were rioting, but in the suburbs, people were locking their doors and watching the TV to see what was going on in the riots. And they were like, this is BS. Everybody, this is why Black Lives Matter lost, I think, 17% support through the Black Lives Matter protests. It didn't help their cause at all. If anything, it helped Donald Trump. So the fact that he didn't call it helped him. If he did go and call the Insurrection Act, I think it would hurt him. More people would say, oh yeah, this guy's taking a little bit too much control. Even though people wanted it, he was trying to do it, and he was trying to get it out there that, hey, I'm doing it. So when you actually read the news that, yeah, he was calling for it, and the governors were saying no, and then the police were like, hey, come on, like, we don't really care about what the president does or says, but we need some help here. And the governor's like, nah. It's like, yeah, that's the difference there.
Now, it's not just in D.C.
That's correct. I've said it repeatedly. You're under martial law everywhere. The state of California.
Why do I see Black Hawk helicopters hovering over downtown Austin this morning?
Yep.
Because you're sitting down in Austin, you're working very hard in your studio, and you're trying to sell vitamins. We don't send Black Hawk helicopters everywhere. This is not just special forces. These are units from all over the country. The reason why you don't see Trump, you kept on asking me, why is he absent? And I kept saying to you, this is Sun Tzu. Trump was brilliant. What he did was to allow all the Democrats and Republicans to reveal their underlying miscreant behavior, and then he was sent.
Boom! Right there. Right what he says. They showed themselves. Allow the behavior to present itself. At that point, you just say, look at this. I'm trying. These people aren't doing anything. If this guy's correct on anything, it was that right there. I believe.
Command and control centers in Abilene, command and control centers in NORAD. There's no reason for him to come out. He wanted to do exactly what a brilliant strategist does, which is to allow everybody to reveal their pathological intention. I kept saying to you months ago, this is a fascist system coming from the left, from Obama, from Brennan. When does a director of the CIA, who's a Catholic moron, from Fordham, screwed up in Saudi Arabia, becomes the deputy director of the CIA, was an analyst, and then brings forth another CIA operative, Obama? That's when I got my subpoena 10 years ago, and I had to go to court to explain what an idiot this man was, and how the Attorney General of Miami was an idiot. In other words, my tolerance for ignorance and stupidity is not great. I'm not saying that about you, but I'm saying very simply, if I'm wrong, so be it. But if I'm right, you're going to have to understand something about our country, and that you don't fully understand what it really is about. It's really about.
We're going to see. And here's the deal. That's a nice backhanded deal. I am an idiot at many levels. That's what Socrates said. Is I know that I know nothing. So we're going to go to break in 2 minutes. We're going to come back and let you finish up here. But all
That's what I say. I don't know.
This country's in crisis. We should be praying. We should all be politically involved. We should be pointing out this election's a fraud, and we should be exposing Joe Biden as a communist Chinese.
Hey, whoever sent Alex Jones, this dude has been going, and is still going to this day. Look at his studio now. Look at his mic.
And boy, this is a very exciting time to be alive. We'll see what comes out of all of this, but obviously, I'm going to ask the tough
Much respect, regardless of if people say he's crazy or if he is crazy. Sometimes,
but he's right. Now some say don't have him on. Now, you can burn in hell too. You know, the idea that I'm just supposed to have one view on here or one idea. This is all in flux. We are under martial law.
You can burn in hell too.
This morning, and I was up on the top of the Mixmaster, and I could see downtown, and I could see military bases with Blackhawks, 4 of them just sitting. And by the time I got to the office, they took off, but whatever they were doing was like scanning for weapons or something, probably radioactive devices. Seeing a lot of bizarre behavior going on, folks. We'll be right back. You know, I hoped under Steve Pachenik's right that we had a military coup, but that the Chi-Com agent Joe Biden gets exposed. But I thought, you know, let's get him on now 7 days until whatever's going to happen. The country is under martial law. Total insanity is unfolding. So, Doc, finishing up, other points you'd like to make or relay to the viewers and listeners out there?
Here's a very simple point I'm going to make.
If that does happen, let's play out the events. How long do you think it would last? The riots. Do you think people would completely freak the fuck out? And at this point too, who is next? If it's Donald Trump again, for 4 more years, this is gonna get crazy, man. For 4 more years of that, like, is there gonna be 4 more years of rioting? Is it gonna be military state for 4 years? Military state for 4 years? Are we going? Yeah, what's if this guy's correct, like, and just play out the scenario. Biden's people gets arrested. It gets released to the American public why they got arrested. Does the American people believe it? Trump's off of all social media, so he's not going to be mentioned. Why would he be mentioned? I don't know, man. Well, what would the media report? Yeah, Joe Biden got arrested. This is complete BS. Trump's taking over the nation. Going riot. They would call for insurrection. Like, they would call for violence. Trump, the media can't do much. Like, I don't know what the media would do. Why not? I'm just saying if it did. If he did, what would happen? Like, let's play the imagination. imagination. Yeah. You know, just like think it through. Like, what would that look like? Like, Biden goes to do his speech. People are like, oh, I'm so excited. I read a quote, I think today on Twitter or wherever the fuck I seen it. And somebody posted, oh, I canceled my dentist appointment because it was on the 20th and I'm not going to miss Biden's inauguration speech. I'm like, what the fuck? If CNN goes to jail, CNN's going under. CNN, I'm pretty sure is up for sale, and someone's about to buy it out. Tim Pool said, yeah, I like to think of whoever owns fucking CNN going up and turning out all the lights, closing everything down, looking around and closing off his stuff, and at the end of the night he has a statue of Donald Trump and he just goes up and he's like, thank you, and he kisses his feet. Because if CNN did not have Donald Trump, they would not have news. Like, he brings up an instance of Anderson Cooper, and he's like standing out in the rain, and he's like, yeah, it's raining out here. Like, no, I think Trump's about to buy CNN. If it goes to normalcy.
Here's the bet we're going to have, Alex, once and for all. If I'm wrong, I will never appear on your show again. But if I'm right, I become one of your official paid commentators. You want that bet?
If you're right, I'll hire you and pay you. You can be on the show every day.
That's correct. All right. So
I'll hire you and pay you. You can be on the show every day.
We have that bet, right? Yes. Okay. Now I'm going to talk to you about the positive.
Hey, there was another guy, I think it was a country singer, he bet 10 grand that Trump will win the presidency. Or will be president. He bet 10 grand on it.
Aspects of what's going on. It's called the Black Robe Regiment. And those are the American Christians who have understood that by praying with Jesus, we can in effect implement the necessary constitutional rights that we had. Now, why do I say that? Number one, the Black Robe Regiment was really founded in the Revolutionary War. And I have to remind you in America that we did not come out of peace. It was called a revolution. That means initially
You got some money riding on it too?
Against the British. In that process,
I wouldn't say the 20th. Michael Conklin, I got some information today from a random person that was fucking... Biden wasn't going to be inaugurated on the 20th. It was going to be stopped, and then Trump is going to be sworn in on March 4th. So...
Black Robe Regiment were incredible.
Might lose that money. March 4th.
Who supported their
or in March.
Churches with the notion that you
right around my birthday, dude.
For liberty,
it's gonna be a birthday present.
Jesus. That's exactly what's happening now. And there are those loyal American Christians who belong to this Black Robe Regiment. And I appreciate what they do. I appreciate what you did, Alex. But for the first time, you're beginning to understand you were the vehicle through which I could implement, or the system could implement what they needed to do. It was not through YouTube. It was not through email. You were being used for 20 years as the major way of communicating.
Okay, so this is the scary part. He's saying you are the reason. It's you. It's your fault. If this is all bunk BS bullshit. He made a bet and said, oh yeah, I'll hire you on. I'll give you the spot.
To the military and the intelligence. What you forgot, Alex, was the first time I ever came on, you said there were thousands and thousands of operatives listening to us on 9/11. And when we came on 9/11, less than 2 people in this whole world believed that I was correct about 9/11. 5 years later, thanks to your...
Wait, as long as Biden swear in, as no Biden... Okay, so as long as Biden doesn't get sworn in on the 20th. Well, hey, what's going on, Sinister? So you could tell them that Biden didn't win, so they lost the bet too. So either way, you won't be paid for it. And then at that point, you can make the bet for March.
Show and our ability to discuss and have our differences. 70% of America understood that Bush Jr.
Or just say it now. Just randomly throw it out there.
All cowards, all corrupt.
Well, that's why you have the courage
Just tell them,
9/11's an inside job.
hey, Biden's not going to be sworn in, but Trump won't be either until the 4th. Is our bet still on?
It's not about me. I'm talking
if
about
that's the
you,
case.
Alex. You were the vehicle that was initially anointed, say, by me, all right?
Just ask him.
You were anointed because I took that risk to say this is
Like I heard this. Would our bet still be on if Trump won on the 4th
in the next
of March?
20 or 30 years. So in this process, you have to remember, what is this coup about? This is a coup to pay back the Cheneys for the corruption and cowardness, for the wars that they sent us in Iraq and Afghanistan, to Obama, who sent up the war, including Biden, who specifically sent soldiers there, and we lost 5,000 people. To Obama again, who sent us into war into Afghanistan.
Wait, you found something on the March date?
To Colin Powell, who lied continuously, pathological liar, who was a coward in Vietnam and said we didn't have Me Live. Then he lied when he said we had anthrax.
No, I understand you're exposing their backgrounds. We have Ken Paxton, speaking of arrested that lady in the Veritas video buying votes. We've got all this stuff coming up, but this is crazy.
He's bringing up a bunch of stuff about what Alex Jones talks about and trying to correlate it to what he's saying. And saying Alex Jones is the main vehicle for a military coup.
Trump is cut off. Trump is off YouTube. They're not letting the president speak. He should use the EAS alert system. Let's do a few more minutes with Dr. Steve Machinik back in 60 seconds. All right, Pompeo just announced that he'll be resigning the day of the inauguration of Lord Biden. So I guess Biden won't have the pleasure of getting rid of him. But Dr. Steve Machinik has been more accurate than he's been wrong. I mean, I'd give him 95% accuracy rate. And he's doubling down. I'll give it to him. Some of this sounds Q-ish to me, but he's a real guy. He's a best-selling author. He's a psychiatrist. He did the Camp David Accords. He's been around forever. He did write Tom Clancy's books. He did make these big films. He did overthrow governments. I mean, he's been on the show before, and there's like federal investigations over it and articles in the London Guardian. And yeah, he's the one that tricked the communists to kill the Italian prime minister. And I mean, he's definitely done the stuff. Okay, it's not a bunch of talk. And so he's sitting here saying all of this, and then I see the weird martial law.
All right, we'll check it out right now, man. What'd you post?
I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. I'm just a guy that researches politics here in Texas and loves freedom. But I know this. I don't see how the power structure puts a Joe Biden in control. I mean, the guy can hardly talk. The guy's a Chinese agent, totally penetrated, on record, under criminal investigation for it. And I just don't see where this goes. And Kamala Harris and all of this. So, are you saying this is some larger, giant dialectic? Then tell me, how does it unfold the next 7 days? That suddenly
holy shit!
What happens with Trump? I mean, what the hell? According to what you're saying, humor me. What's going to happen next?
Alex, I don't need.
I gotta save this page.
What I said. You are funny in many cases. What is going to happen? Biden will be arrested. Pelosi was going to be arrested. Remember what I said about
That's some fucking shit right there.
Her family was Alexandria out of Baltimore, Maryland. They were corrupt. She is corrupt. There's nothing here.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a lot of stuff.
Psychology. This is repetition compulsion. In other words, if you're a crook and a coward, this will.
Dude, there's a bunch of shit that got released today, and that's probably all of it. So I appreciate that.
We didn't know. In effect, I think Biden understood his days were limited, He will be picked up. His son will be picked up. The man who will be the next president of the United States, I said it to you months ago, will be Trump.
So is that why Biden says things like, I'll feign an illness and go away?
He doesn't feign anything. He's too stupid to feign anything. He's not relevant. The point of Biden is that they picked some individual who was mentally impaired, went through a kabuki of nonsense, and what you have is a dialectic of stupidity and confidence. Hegel would have said, you know what?
Wait, that's you? Hell yeah.
Over stupidity. Hegel would have said, oh, I'm going to appoint
Dude, you know how to edit videos?
Who's a businessman who basically effectively took down 42nd Street in New York, built hotels all over the country and the world, never asked one for 1 penny in this interaction. And the man I said to you, for 30 years, do not listen to what he says, watch what he does. He's brilliant. He came out of a past where his mother was from Scotland. What he refuses to talk about, and I repeated it numerous times on this show, his uncle, Trump, was a major professor at MIT in electronics and radar.
Yeah, you got all of Tesla's fucking shit. Trump's a time traveler. You guys heard about that one?
Doesn't say a word, but I will tell you the following.
I know Trump's super IQ family, but
what?
But let's expand on that. Let's expand on that.
This is not about you. We're going to talk about the president of MIT. He's going to resign because he's compromised. The president of Harvard, compromised. The president of Cornell, compromised. You're talking about people who have brought in Chinese operatives. Why did I not say this was a war against China? Because the Chinese have been infiltrating us for 35 years. Mike Flynn said it very correctly to you, and I've said it repeatedly. We have all of the companies that are under Chinese control, Tesla. We have the Waldorf Hill.
Yeah, I seen that.
Hotel.
The Epstein flight logs are at the bottom there.
I can go on and on for 30 companies that have been.
Dude, you know how to make websites and shit? I wanted to make a website.
Eric Swallowswell is going to be the House manager for the impeachment.
I was going to look into how to make one.
Right here. Overhead shot, please. I mean, look at this. An admitted compromised sex op with a CCP agent who oversaw the operations against our president.
Make Bang Bang with Fang Fang.
So that Chinese agent will oversee the impeachment of a president. That's illegal.
No, it's not illegal. What it is a farce. Alex, you understand how absurd this has become, but the reality is, under the absurdity, the liberal, the left couldn't tolerate any more forces against them, which basically said, you're wrong, you're ignorant, you're stupid. I have a case, I'll give you an example, just recently. State of emergency was picked up by one of the major presidents of CW Network. And that person, whom I've known for years in Hollywood, said, I want to help you out.
You started making one? Where'd you? You gotta let me know. The first 48, are you in Discord?
What happened to all of Hollywood among American Jews? They're incompetent. They're ignorant. What they basically feel, and I've said it repeatedly to you, the American Jewish intellectual is pathetic. They have no idea of American history. They think that Abraham Lincoln is the greatest president when in fact he's a disaster. They don't know the history of World War II and the Holocaust. They make up all kinds of nonsense where we have museums of the Holocaust, when in fact
Abraham Lincoln, the reason he say he was a disaster, Abraham Lincoln did a lot of authoritarian things in order to do what he did that started what became, but some say it's for the best, but it set precedent for what could happen, and in some sense it was fucking awesome, but in other ways it was bad. So GoDaddy.
We had 140.
Dude, I remember GoDaddy's commercials when they first came out, and it was like, create your own porn site. Oh yeah, or like something like that. It was like GoDaddy.com.
6 Jews in Hitler's army. 2 of the field marshals were Jews. You think any American knows this?
No, the professors, Jewish professors have written books proving that there was a Jewish ruling class, kind of like Sacha Baron Cohen today in the ADL, that fed on Jews and sold them out for Hitler, which I know you lost some of your family. So it was a real Holocaust, but it was Jews with Hitler robbing the Jews.
Yeah, he lost his mom's family. Says it on Wikipedia.
The Jewish robbery of the Jews.
You got it now. So what did I say? It's identification with the aggressor, and repetition compulsion. Soros worked with the Nazis, survived. Soros works for himself and others to overthrow a government. Soros is pathetic. He made his billions on nothing more
someone
than
in the background
on the euro and the pound. I've known him. I've met him. He's a pathetic individual who got to power, and the CIA helped him. What was the element that I went after here?
George Soros, isn't it known that he's had like 5 heart transplants? I'm pretty sure. Let me look it up real quick. Did George... How many? Seven heart transplants. Sorry, I got it wrong, guys. Gotta fact check me. Fucking 7 heart transplants? Seven, dude.
It was the...
Dude, if he gets... yeah, right. He's not gonna die. Are you kidding me?
CIA. Why did I ask Gene Haspel?
When were these pictures taken? How far are these apart? Pre-adrenochrome? Adrenochrome.
To be taken out. John Brennan, Clapper, all of these are ineffectual.
Look at how the ADL gives awards to Schwarzenegger, whose dad was in the SS. Schwarzenegger said he loves Hitler, so they give him a Jewish award. It's all a sick joke, and it really is the big secret of World War II. It's in the real histories. It's even in mainline history books. It's just buried.
No, it's
that rich Jews
still on your first heart.
To target Jews and rob them. It's so
fucking evil. 7 heart transplants.
Not only that, it's Schwarzenegger. Here's an example of a self-righteous, lying individual, never served our country. His visa, by the way, he's not here legally. He had a lot of problems with his visa. He took all kinds of drugs to pump up his body. He's a liar because his father wasn't in the SS. It was a worse unit, SA. That was the unit that Hitler killed overnight because they were more ruthless than the SS.
Schwarzenegger?
He then hires the Simon Wiesenthal Center to see if his father's cleared. His father was nothing more than an apparatchik in the Nazi party, not in the Wehrmacht.
This is super weird, though. For me, you look, I've seen some fucking old videos of this dude. There's a lot of informants, though, back in the day. Anderson Cooper did an internship with the CIA, so... or a 3-day... I don't know, whatever.
in the
training
essay,
seminar.
what's relevant is Schwarzenegger himself is a phony again.
Let's do one more segment because I watched that video of him calling Trump weak and Trump a fascist. And here is this guy that looted California. Here is this guy that wants our guns.
Disgusting.
Here is this guy, and it just makes me sick. Here's the good news. You're right. He's had so many heart transplants, everything else. I can't wait. I'm gonna smoke a big cigar when Schwarzenegger dies. I'm not gonna kill him myself. I just can't wait till that dirtbag Nazi leftist ADL puppet is 6 feet under with maggots crawling out of his eyes, man. I am so sick of him. We'll be right back. Hold on. Let's talk about it more when we come back. Seriously, I watched that video of him yesterday. I almost threw up 5 times. That is a sack of fake garbage.
Yeah, the video he came out with recently is fucking BS. Complete flip of where he used to stand.
On January 21st, 2021, that we're going to hire Pachinik with a daily show if he wants it. I'll pay him $200,000 a year. He's got that bet. But he's not allowed, if he loses the bet,
$200K a
to
year?
just go away. He has to come back on the show, not to humiliate him. I'm wrong about stuff. I felt like I was set up. No one would pay for the events on the 5th, the 6th. I got the money together. Then luckily, a donor came in and paid for like 80% of it. It's like $500,000 that ended up the donor. Gave like $400,000, like 100 and something. And then we're like, okay, I'm supposed to lead this march of hundreds of thousands of people that couldn't even hear me on the bullhorn. I get there, some idiots
I couldn't imagine
they
that.
break in and all the stupidness. And then you've got all these virtue signalers out there attacking the president. He didn't want violence. I didn't want violence. So I don't see how that was a success. When I get played into people's hands, I will admit it.
Well, they say it was a success, Alex, because they got Nancy Pelosi's laptop. That could be the one way, so there's possibility.
If it was there in their black outfits, they don't break in.
That drink almost blow your heart out. It's like, you just freak out, and it's like, damn, I lost a heart. Hey, they've been cloning animals forever. What's the theory? They've been cloning animals since I think I was in middle school. So 2007, 2008 is when I heard about it, and they started doing it, I think, 2006. And now all of our meat, pretty much at the store, everything you pretty much get is cloned meat. And now they're having babies with the cloned animals, so it's cloned animal babies. It's cloned off of clones, so like we're all eating cloned meat right now. If you get anything from fast food, definitely cloned meat. You hear Wendy's and they say, oh yeah, our meat is fresh. Well, yeah, it's fresh, but it's off of a cloned animal. So this is the difference. It's fucking insane.
Antifa by name was there. They helped trick the cops to attack the crowd to get some of the crowd to go in. Dr. Pachinik, you're a nice guy and a smart guy, but I don't think you mean bad. I just think you're being overly optimistic here. So we're going to find out in 7 days. In 7 days, you're coming back on, aren't you?
Yeah.
Absolutely. But remember one thing about me. How is a very nice guy able to take out the Khmer Rouge without any weapons, able to take out the Soviet Union without any weapons, able to take out Noriega without any weapons? What? Do you understand what this nice guy does? Do you understand that this nice guy...
I don't involve all of that stuff, so tell us. Give us your view.
No, I just said it to you. I'm a very nice guy, but again, understand what I'm really about. When I said...
That's the thing, Tim, is it might not have the same nutrients. As you go down the chain, if you clone a clone, and you clone that clone, it's something I kind of figured out with dogs. I feed my dog raw, and with the raw food, fucking, after they eat it for so long, of eating one consistent meat of something for too long, they don't get as much of the nutrient out of it. And I'm like, why? It's like, should be good for them either way, but it's not enough. So the difference keeps them changing it up, I guess. I don't understand, to where they don't notice the decline as much, but I think there's definitely a decline in the amount we're getting, definitely off of calorie count as well. The calorie count for required daily base is definitely going up as well, so yeah, but it's a new guy based off of 2 clones. So those clones might not be fully the thing that it came from. Can be very close, but I don't know what it is. It's not real in a sense, right? I don't know. It's a weird concept. But 2 clones would not be fully developed, and then if they created something, that something would still not be fully developed, but it would be something new that can create development. But that's to say that they fully are able to develop something full.
The state of emergency was written 27 years ago about a military coup in the United States. It pinpointed Mitt Romney as one of the villains. It pinpointed the
Either way, it's fucking weird, dude. Oh, you saying there's aliens?
The Brennans, the Pelosi's, the Fauci's, the Comos, all of that. Now, how is it that I knew that? The question at hand here is, you haven't been played at all, Alex. The reason I enjoy you is, first of all, you have an incredible mind and you have an incredible wit. But both of us are very strong-willed. You have never been played. And the reason you were chosen was the fact that I really enjoyed being on your show. I've been asked to be on a lot of shows, and I say, no, I'm not interested. But if you go on the Alex Jones
show... I'm very glad to be chosen, and you're a good guest, about a lot of good commentary. But seriously, we built a big audience of great people. I'm trying to figure out... So you can't tell us how this magic's going to happen and Joe Biden's going to step down in 7 days?
That was perfect. He's like, you were chosen. I'm glad to be chosen. Thank you. It was you guys. You chose me. I didn't choose you.
I mean, explain to me the details.
I just said it to you. You're perseverating, Alex. I said to you there will be arrests of the Bidens, the Pelosi.
Oh, yeah.
It's going on now. He
exactly.
will not come to the presidency.
I agree with you. I hope you're right. Can we meet your cat, please?
You are 100% correct.
I have 2 cats and 3 dogs. Why did you? You know what? Let me bring a very simple issue here. You have a wonderful person there named Daria. I won't say anything more. Ask her what it was like under the Soviet Union.
They're already doing this with.
Repression.
Okay, so they took a salamander egg, and then they took, I think, a chicken egg, and they put a laser through the salamander egg and made it shine into the normal egg, and a salamander ended up growing out of the normal egg. So they were able to transfer the DNA through a laser from one egg to another. I forget where they said the video was, but it was a study that they tried to see if they were able to transfer through light, and that alone, to transfer DNA through light, is fucking insane.
That the following could occur in every fascist system. First, you
salamander egg, laser light experiment. You might be able to find it, maybe.
We got an extra coronavirus, which means that you have to wear a mask. just like the Jews did in Hitler time when they wore the yellow star. So every idiot who's wearing a mask is already getting into trouble. But we did it. Everybody's walking around. Then, on top of that, we have a president.
Oh, I didn't think about that the first 48.
More of a moron, says, you know what? We're going to keep those masks on for the next 100 days. And guess what? I have some vaccines, but I can't give it to you. And
You know what's weird about that? So, I hear this, and then a little bit later I hear, oh yeah, chickens, or dinosaurs. So why weren't dinosaurs like chickens and had feathers? And it's like, oh yeah, there's this new theory that comes out that dinosaurs probably had feathers and they were furry and they had hair and they weren't how we expect them to look. And it's like, dude, do they create dinosaurs and then just be like, oh, we were completely wrong, it's how they look? It's like you go and watch the night in a museum and it's like a big ass fucking chicken running around.
Will make you better. In truth, the vaccines are worthless. mRNA is a very fast epitope which degrades quickly. There isn't one person at Pfizer, AstraZeneca.
Okay, so he's also pushing against the vaccine. Biden pushed for the vaccine today.
Or Moderna, who understands that this was an effective vaccine. The CDC was worthless.
Dude, chickens are fucking crazy.
And what happened? The people I told
Why do you think they fight
were
them?
The heads of HHS and CDC left. Isn't that amazing? Either I'm a genius or I just see ordinary problems and say, you know what? You're wrong. That's what allowed me to be a doctor. And what does a doctor really do? He saves lives and he can kill lives. But you better think very carefully that this nice guy is what he may or may not
exactly.
Am I really that nice?
Exactly, Tim.
We're going to see some fireworks in the next 7 days.
No, you're not going to see fireworks. You're going to see a lot of arrests.
And it's like, oh, they just evolved and
we've clamped down
now they have wings and
Washington, it's clamped down. We clamped down in Berlin,
feathers,
down in
and they look like birds.
We clamped down in Italy, and now you will also make.
It's like, no, dude, birds were pretty much the only thing that stayed.
The Italian government will fall apart within 24 hours.
But if this thing stayed and it was related to it, were they the way that raptors evolved?
Well, I do too. So, wow.
And why wouldn't they have feathers?
And so you think Trump is Trump aware of all these things you're saying?
You look at a pterodactyl. Why wouldn't a pterodactyl have fucking feathers?
This is a man who built out of nothing. I mean, people don't understand Trump. They listen to him, but they don't understand how brilliant he is to build and take down. I mean, this is a man who built an ice skating rink in 5 weeks when Koch for 10 years couldn't do it. And not only that, he allowed every kid in New York City to go.
I know you love that. That's like your Santa Claus story.
You were taught that in grade school?
He can build the Death Star.
Oh, I wasn't taught that.
This is the man you have to understand.
Especially like Jurassic Park and everything.
It's time you begin to learn about dynamics.
Nah. They have fucking bones, the first 48. They have full skeletons.
Let me ask you a question. What is the cat that was on the TV's name?
Geronimo.
That's cultural appropriation.
You got it.
What's the other cat? What's the other cat's name?
No, meaning no name. She's about 40.
Well, we should nominate Nona to be the first female president.
It's not Kamala?
You know what?
Like,
I love you, Alex.
Yeah, look at this video. Watch out.
To work. Hey Siri, how old is the president?
Kamala Harris was born 56 years ago on Tuesday.
You gotta be kidding me. Kamala Harris? They didn't even say Biden.
Let's try it again. Hey Siri, how old is the president?
Kamala Harris was born 56 years ago on Tuesday, October 20th, 1964.
And I'm looking at you.
Yeah.
That's Siri.
Doesn't work anymore.
That's not some pre-recording. That's Siri. You're saying.
That's who's the first female president. Come on, Alex Jones. Siri tells us everything, dude.
Go Forrest Daughter Pachenik and put your cat in as the president.
No, I want to really have a real president for the first time. We haven't had a real president in 50 years. Neither the Bushes, the Clintons, the Obamas, the Bidens, none of them were real presidents. Now you're going to see a real president and how quickly he works.
This video
and how
is
efficient
from
he is.
November 8th,
I'm
2 days
holding my
after
breath
the
here.
election.
StevePachenik.com. Thanks, Steve.
Yeah, don't hold your breath. Just enjoy it. Go home and relax.
Well, I'm not a deep sea diver, but I have tried it. All right, I tell you, I'm going to hit a bunch of news and cover some stuff. But that was definitely optimism porn.
It did say they're going to impeach Biden. Yeah, that's the opposite narrative. If it's not going to actually happen, what that guy just said, that as soon as he does get elected, there's going to be impeachment process already in action, just like they did Trump.
Welcome to Hold the Line. I'm Buck Sexton.
So
what
who really
many
knows?
of us have suspected for months has now finally been confirmed by researchers from Stanford University.
I gotta use the
COVID
restroom.
lockdowns,
I'll be
based on
right
the
back,
data,
guys.
have no appreciable impact on the spread of the virus versus places that take more standard, individualized precautions. According to Newsweek, the peer-reviewed study compared the growth of coronavirus cases in countries that implemented mandatory lockdown orders and business closures, countries like Germany, Spain, and the U.S., to countries that implemented less severe restrictions, including Sweden and South Korea. As Newsweek reports, quote, the researchers determined that there is no clear, significant beneficial effect of more restrictive measures on case growth in any country. Oh, wow. You don't say. The news comes as some Democratic governors and big city mayors seem increasingly eager to reopen businesses. During a press conference yesterday, Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot expressed her desire to reopen the city's bars and restaurants.
I am very, very focused on getting our restaurants reopened. If we look at the various criteria that the state has set, we are meeting most, if not all of those. So that's a conversation that I will have with the governor, but I want to get our restaurants and our bars reopened as quickly as possible. I feel very strongly that we are very close to a point where we should be talking about opening up our bars and restaurants.
Close to a point where we should be talking about opening up bars and restaurants. Okay. Why is this all happening right now? Let's start with something that I think we need to establish. There are a lot of factors here. This is a very complicated problem. Pandemics hit the whole world, hit the U.S. very badly. There are a lot of situations, a lot of problems that are playing out right now. But they're coming together at this point in time. Let's take a look at this. We have the vaccine rollout, but so far the rollout has actually been poor. They haven't done a good job distributing this, nowhere near the numbers that were expected. So that's one issue. But the vaccine is getting rolled out, and that's going to help. We're also about halfway through the winter.
Trial
so
starts 19,
the
so
toll
they
of
can't
the
impeach
lockdown
Biden
is
right away.
becoming, more apparent to people. Right? We're right in the teeth of winter now in this country, and we're seeing
I can't look at that.
damages from it. So that helps with awareness for sure of the drawbacks.
So gross.
Remember, the difference, or rather the choices here are not just government mandated lockdown of businesses and even stay-at-home orders and the most extreme things, or everyone goes out and parties and doesn't care. No, it's should the government be making these determinations in such a sweeping fashion? Is it worth the cost for the benefit? That's the way we should have always been having this conversation. But because of the panic and the hysteria around this, that's not how it went. We had shutdowns. We had people saying that if you oppose the shutdowns, you are a bad person. But there's something else that's going on right now, and I think we should all be aware of it. This change in sentiment that's happening, and it's just the beginning of it. Let's be clear. It's the tip of the spear, perhaps. There's not a huge chorus out there that wants to say this yet, but Governor Cuomo of New York, in fact, let's hear from the governor.
We must plan our economic resurgence.
We simply cannot stay closed until the vaccine hits critical mass. The cost is too high. We will have nothing left to open.
Hopefully something good would happen to you.
I suppose that's what made it the classic.
What does that even mean, smartly and safely? It means you're going to be making trade-offs, right? You have to, or else you're just going to stay closed, because why take any risk at all? Shouldn't that have been the approach all along? Take a look at what's going on right now with
what is this flag flying underneath?
Three of, I should say, the biggest states in the U.S., California, New York, and Florida. When you line these up, you see on a per capita basis the number of deaths, the number of cases. New York, Florida, California. Somehow, Florida continues to be doing much better than California or New York.
We'll go back here.
Before a joint session of Congress, I will lay out my Build Back Better recovery plan.
There you have it, folks. The new vision of Democratic leadership here, courtesy of Joe Biden. You got more spending, you got more regulating, you're going to have a lot more government, that's for sure. So what exactly is new about this Biden stimulus plan? Large parts of it are directly stolen from ideas that President Trump had called for, but was, of course, prevented from getting by the Democrat-controlled Congress. When President Trump proposed it, it was dead on arrival. Thanks, Nancy Pelosi. President-elect Biden now supports it, and it's supposed to be revolutionary. Oh my gosh, a lot of spending that was blocked by Democrats while people suffered all across the country. Now that's...
Was it what I was showing? That was Newsmax.
Throw money at the problem until it goes away style of governance. But let's examine this stimulus point by point.
That wasn't me.
So as you can see here, this newly proposed Biden stimulus is just shy of a whopping $2 trillion, okay? Covers a whole host of items from minimum wage to unemployment benefits to eviction moratoriums. You got a lot of things here. Okay, total stimulus, it's $1.9 trillion.
Whoa, wait.
$1,400 checks, plus the $600, $400 a week unemployment. You're going to get $15 minimum wage. What is that? Well, that's just something Democrats have always wanted. And let me say, that's popular.
Okay, I'm going to end the stream.
People want a higher minimum wage.
Can you guys hear me or no?
Doesn't matter how many think tank pieces you show them.
If you can hear me, I'll wait 1 minute.
Undoubtedly be proven to be true in the sense that there'll be cutbacks in hours, cutbacks in certain jobs, but some people will get more money.
If somebody says that they can hear me.
Like it. 14 weeks of paid sick leave. Wow. I don't think I've ever been able to take 14 days off for anything. 14 weeks, though, of paid sick leave. $400 billion for vaccines and the fight against the pandemic, $130 billion for the schools, 100,000 new healthcare workers and rent relief.
Wait, the first 48, you can see me?
Bam.
You hear me?
Now, this is going to be very expensive. That much is for sure, but we do have to face up to a problem here. Conservatives were not talking a whole lot about the spending that was going on.
Can you hear me?
For
just
4
can't
years
see
of the
me?
Trump administration. We spent heavily, went deeper into deeper into debt. The national debt grew considerably, and that also continued last year during the actual pandemic. Well, that means that we're going to have a tough time making the fiscal responsibility case during a time like this. And that's why Joe Biden knows the best way to get his way with all of it is to use that money and get it to
Lucid
people.
Drops
And
is saying that
that this is somehow a new
have
and exciting
policy
idea.
violations.
Here's Joe Biden on the checks.
We will finish the job of getting a total of $2,000 in cash relief to people who need it the most. The $600 already appropriated is simply not enough. We just have to choose between paying rent and putting food on the table. Even for those who've kept their jobs, these checks are really important.
They were also very important before the Georgia Senate races that were going on, that we know now the GOP lost both of them, and Mitch McConnell blocked those $2,000 checks from going to people. That was foolish, as we now see. The money's still going to get spent, but I guess there are some people who at the next think tank dinner can say, well, I was a fiscal conservative.
It's a news station.
Even before we were about to get crushed and lose control of the Senate. So they've got that going for them, which is nice. And Joe Biden is using this now as his opportunity. He has a pretty straightforward playbook to run. Trump got blocked on all this. Trump lost the election, and now Joe Biden gets to be the one who's going to be feeding the hungry.
6 people in here.
So we're going to extend emergency nutritional assistance for 43 million children and their families enrolled in the SNAP program.
The Alex interview
through the rest of this
or the
year.
Newsmax one.
We'll help hard-hit restaurants prepare meals for the hungry, provide food for the families who need it. We'll invest $3 billion in making sure mothers and their young
children hear this video
have
right
the
now?
nutrition they need.
Wait a second. You can't hear what Joe Biden's saying right now? Oh, I see what you're saying. They're going back and getting into my video. Damn. Dude, it's Beijing Biden. Dude, they seen it that quick? I was even stopping and talking in between. This is officer of the president-elect, and this is BS shit. They're gonna allow this to go everywhere.
Remember how the Obama administration started? Came in during a financial crisis. Then there was $1 trillion of stimulus
Obama?
that went to a whole range of government
Damn
expansions
Obama
and a lot
raising
of
taxes
different
on bad
insurance programs for people who have lost their jobs, but also a lot of money getting to other things, left-wing causes, Democrat pet projects. That's because if you opposed it, you opposed the recovery after the financial crash. If you
Dude,
oppose
I'm afraid
any of
that
this,
when I end it,
you will be demagogued with you don't want
I'll have
the
like a
country to
strike
recover
or
to
something.
reopen. So they have a very
Let's
strong
look.
hand here. Right now, what Biden's talking about are things we could all agree on. Yeah, absolutely. Send checks to people who need it, who have lost their businesses or have lost their jobs because of the lockdowns. Make sure every American is fed. These are things that people will shake their head and say, absolutely. There's going to be a whole lot more than that. This is just the beginning. This is what you're being told must be done
there's nothing new.
before Biden even
This one
takes
was already
office
there,
officially.
but
Once he gets in there, get ready to hear about how we have to spend billions, perhaps hundreds of billions of dollars to deal with the simultaneous climate emergency along with the COVID-19 emergency. Just as serious, that climate emergency. You heard it here first. More than 20,000 National Guardsmen are expected to be in D.C. in anticipation of President-elect Joe Biden's inauguration. We'll discuss the massive deployment of American troops to our nation's capital with author and former Navy SEAL sniper Brandon Webb.
My email?
Back. Friends, we have a new sponsor that I want to tell you about, Mammoth Nation. It's America's conservative discount.
Hey.
Their mission is...
Mammoth Nation, I got no sponsors. If you guys want to help me out, I got a Cash App. You can Cash App me $1. I don't know how that works, but if you guys got Cash App, I hate to say that. I'm gonna try to do something other than, but I'm gonna build up, try to do some live shit, fly out some places, but not in the best financial position. Mammoth Nation, suck it. No advertisements. No, maybe an advertisement. I'll advertise vitamins. There's nobody's fucking taking vitamins right now, but everybody's freaking out about their health.
I understand why you'd be frightened about taking your kids to school.
Yeah, I'd rather keep them at home, and they've learnt a lot, to be fair.
What do you think about
Oh my god, I'd rather keep them at home.
not going to school at the moment?
I just love my school, and I can't go to school.
Oh.
I just love my
missing
school.
it?
I really want to go, but I
I am
can't.
trying my best, but obviously with no Wi-Fi and that, I'll do my own stuff with
Hey
them.
Tim,
Yeah.
you hear Doug Ducey said that he's not going to fund schools in Arizona that don't allow reopenings?
We are going to get some learning packs sent home.
Yeah. So you don't have Wi-Fi at the
No,
moment?
we don't at the minute now.
Is that because it's expensive, basically?
Yeah, a lot of expenses. I had it, but obviously I didn't pay it, so obviously, yeah.
So
I'm a single parent, so
It got cut off, basically.
Yeah.
And what about feeding the kids? I mean, is
No, we feed the kids absolutely fine. Obviously, we get help from the school, from like the vouchers and stuff like that. But yeah, they get fed.
Wayne Norrie is Chief Executive of Greenwood Academies Trust.
On the other hand, there's reports coming out that people are freaking out because they can't feed their kids because of the amount of income that's required. And then they're like sitting there asking their kids, like, do you eat like this at school? Like, what the hell's going on? Can't feed our kids like this.
To optimism, there's a lot of stocks that we see that we can't justify the valuations. And
England isn't listening to Johnson's lockdown orders anymore. England, salute to you. Salute. Not like the, like a, hell yeah, dude.
In terms of where the valuations are, because we've got sort of peer comparisons. So we're invested in the electronic vehicle space, for example, and you know we've got one stock that's up more than 400% since those lows, and so there's positions that we're looking at and thinking
we're making so much money off everybody being
corporate
suffering.
earnings deliverability, because if they don't come through, I think we're going to have a short-term correction. And I'm long only, but I actually would not be disappointed if markets did have a bit of a correction, because you've seen all boats are rising in the high tide at the moment. I just don't think that it's appropriate that this sort of mania that we're seeing at the moment, particularly in the US, continues. I think it's about time to take stock and focus on the valuations and fundamentals and not get caught up with it.
Nigeria's big oil refinery.
Well, later in the week, President Trump was indeed impeached for a second time, an historic move by the House. 10 Republicans joined the Democrats in charging him with incitement of insurrection for his role in the riot that ransacked the Capitol.
Yeah, 10 Republicans went and sided with the impeachment. They're like, we're so glad this is bipartisan. It's like, what are you talking about? There's like 200 fucking Republicans who said no. And you got 10 of them who were like, yeah. And they're like, dude, this is so bipartisan. High five. Did you see my thumbs up that I did? I hope you got a picture of that and post it on Twitter.
But that put an irreversible stain on his legacy with only 1 week left in his term.
We know that the President of the United States incited this insurrection,
Okay,
this armed rebellion.
why is the House Speaker standing down here? Why is she speaking to someone who is sitting in her place? It's the weirdest fucking thing I've ever seen.
Against our common country. He must go. He is a clear and present danger to the nation.
Wait, Tim, what'd you say? What happened? What happened with what?
That we all love.
But a Senate trial is unlikely to begin before Trump's term ends on January 20. The president responded by calling on Americans to unite and avoid any further violence.
Violence and vandalism have absolutely no place in our country and no place in our movement. Mob violence goes against everything I believe in and everything our movement stands for. No true supporter of mine could ever endorse political violence.
We got more with Hans Goody, who weighed in on this for us. He's the HT Research founder and CEO.
Well, simply because the fuel that has been behind financial markets for the last several years.
Man, this
is
dude looks
easy
like,
money,
what's the
and
actor's name who plays the Green Goblin in the first one?
the easy monetary policy by the Fed will not change. If anything, they will keep interest rates low for another couple or more years. And we're also going to get some fiscal stimulus. $2 trillion is being bandied around here. So this is what equity markets would like to
The way he
see,
plans to
regardless
remain
of
in India
fundamentals. I mean, the
5G
fundamentals
race,
are not that great, but it's the live on stimulus and liquidity.
even though they're being kicked
Are you
out.
not worried that one of the scenarios could see action taken against the incumbent U.S. president, and that might alienate his followers, perhaps raising the possibility of social tensions or more social tensions in a divided country?
Well, yeah, I mean,
Australia joins US,
prospect
UK,
of,
and warming
social,
firms over
disruption and,
Xinjiang
social unrest is
ties.
clearly there, as we have seen. And,
So there's
it's not
different
gonna be easy
countries
for
that
the
are
incoming
ganging up with
administration.
us to go against China. And who's connected with China? Joe Biden. Definitely some weird shit going on.
I think we're seeing how the media is on the liberal side is very biased towards certain candidates, right? And this to me is an attempt to kind of show force, but as somebody that's served in the military and with your background as well, you know that most of these National Guard troops are reservists. They're what we jokingly call weekend warriors in the military for the active duty guys. I just can't see a 19-year-old picking up an assault rifle and being willing to point it at another American.
But Brandon, is that even really why you think they're deploying them, or is this just are they trying to make a point by having so many soldiers? It seems to raise the tensions to the point where, well, this must be necessary, and obviously because of what happened at the Capitol. But is it really necessary? I mean, does anyone think that hundreds of people heavily armed are going to do something terrible? Because it looks like that's what they're preparing for.
Yeah, I mean it.
And who is the one who actually caused the majority of the damage for 6 months rather than 1 hour? But then they're also getting intelligence.
And it just seems
on the other hand, there is going to be something that's going to be far right, not with Donald Trump, because he's calling for peace. So
on a fire that really doesn't need it. It's a smoldering fire at best.
So everything is peaceful and comes off exactly as it's supposed to here with this transition. Brandon, good to see you, my friend. Thanks so much for joining.
Thanks, Buck.
After break, some rapid fire takes on the stories we didn't quite get to in tonight's quick hits. These days, being prepared for the unknown is more important than ever. I'm sure you've noticed the world we live in is anything but predictable. We could all benefit from something reliable right about now. Well, what could be more reliable than real gold and silver? I'm talking about real gold and silver you can actually hold right in your hands. Call the Oxford Gold Group and learn how easy it is to get real gold and silver sent securely directly to your home, or how you can have real gold and silver placed in your IRA or 401k. Just call the Oxford Gold Group at 833-600-GOLD and ask for your free guide on owning gold and silver. Again, call the Oxford Gold Group right now at 833-600-GOLD. The Oxford Gold Group
Biden
is the
day
only
one.
gold company
This is what I was
trust.
wondering.
Call them right now at 833.
/. He's having a bad dream. Joe Biden day one. Order on transgender rights in sports and bathrooms. Let's be clear, transgender equality and civil rights issues are time. There is no room for compromise when it comes to basic human rights. On his first day in office, Biden will reinstate the Biden-Obama guidance revoked by the Trump-Pence administration to destroy transgender students' access to sports bathrooms and lockers in accordance with their gender identity. He He will direct in his Department of Education to vigorously enforce and investigate violations of transgender students' civil rights. Holy fuck.
You know, so many of us look back on January 6th with disappointment, with disgust, with frustration, but we have to look back and we have to learn from what happened on January 6th, and we have to talk about how do we move forward, not just as a party, but as a nation. What happened on January 6th was unacceptable when it comes to people breaking into the Capitol. Any violence should never be accepted. I don't care, and I've said this before, whether it's perpetrated by Black Lives Matter, or if it's perpetrated by Antifa or Trump supporters or a random person on the street last Tuesday. It's all the same. Violence is wrong, and it's not how we get our goals accomplished. If you want to have your message heard, no matter what that message is, right or wrong, you do not break the law. As Republicans, we're the party of law and order. We talk so often about respecting our police, about thanking our soldiers, our men and women who have greatly and bravely served our nation. Our nation is so great. It's the best nation in the world. We want to remain that way. And of course, there's corruption in our nation. There are very serious concerns when it comes to election interference, making sure that we have free and fair elections moving forward. I don't think there should ever be confusion in terms of people thinking that because what happened on January 6th, that there's no election interference or that that has anything to do with it. It's a completely and total separate issue. We should move forward with our eyes heavily watching what's going on in elections nationwide. We need to make sure that we don't have dead people voting, that we see those voter rolls updated in the states, that we make sure that, you know, people aren't voting twice, that the voting procedures in each and every state do not violate the Constitution. All of these concerns that myself and so many others had in regards to the November 2020 election are still very real. And while I completely condemn what happened on January 6th, my views do not change on how we need to move forward in making sure that election issues are also addressed. Because without free and fair elections, who are we as a nation? What do we have left of our constitutional republic? That is what makes us great compared to many banana republic nations that you don't have any voice, that you don't have that right to vote in many places, especially for women or people of color. There are nations in which Christians, Muslims, people are discriminated against based on their religion when it comes to voting or so much else. So we're lucky to live in a generalization world, but it doesn't mean that there aren't things we need to address moving forward. And of course, it does not change. Addressing those things doesn't change the fact that we condemn violence in any and all forms.
Hey, Tim, my bad I didn't hit you up, my dude.
I myself, as a conservative Republican, don't feel that that's the way that we move forward. Not only is that not the way that we have our voices heard, but it's not the way that we bring people together. And in order to accomplish our goals, we sometimes need people from both sides of the aisle to come together. And so we need to do a better job of being able to practice what we preach. And it's something that many people, I think, failed us in doing on January 6th. It doesn't mean everybody. There are many people in Washington, D.C. that went there. They were peaceful. They went to have their voices be heard. Just as there were some people last summer in 2020 that went out to protest for racial justice, and they wanted their voices to be heard, and they were good people out for the right reasons.
I'm saying
but
give
those
her a
people
chance.
weren't the ones that were burning down businesses in the summer of 2020. Those people were criminals, just like some of these people were on January 6th. And so we may have different views. We really all should come together on this issue.
Or give the person
we have,
a chance.
A lot of the same goals in
One
terms
interaction
of wanting
doesn't
to make
explain
sure
it
that we
all.
have a successful nation, and of course that we want to have free and fair elections, because it doesn't matter which side of the aisle you're on. One
don't
day
judge
you'll
a book by its
be
cover.
on the losing side of an election, and if it's not fair, you won't be too happy about it. And so we want to make sure that people can run for office and they can win or lose fairly.
Some covers on music fucking suck. I'm just like, what the hell were you thinking?
Permanent. This is not a temporary relationship. This is hopefully a permanent relationship. We have seen all that the part of the learnings that we carry.
Oh, they're talking about a new Middle East, basically. Like, shit's popping off in the Middle East right now. They got Jewish weddings going on in Dubai.
In 2021, after 2021, is the fact that more producers need to work together during difficult times. The level of confidence that we build among ourselves working together now for years is more assuring that we will continue working in the future.
So we talked about balancing the market. I want to get a sense from you in terms of when can we expect OPEC to recover perhaps the market share that it gave up last year?
Hey, maybe I am, maybe I'm not.
Now the focus is on the balancing of the market. We're not looking at it from a market share
my
point
opinion.
of view. We are the lowest cost producers as OPEC countries and many of the OPEC Plus as well. So we know that for a fact that when situations are normal.
Look how scary this line is at the bottom right here. Kim Jong-un's new missile points to early provocations for Biden.
We can easily get to the market share that is
fucking scary. I mean, it seems like we're gonna have to wait another day. It didn't seem like a lot of popped off today. The old man was a little off his rocker. Oh, what is this? I was just days before. We're starting right at the beginning. I don't really know what happens tomorrow. This stuff come out. If you looked what I said yesterday, how the stimulus wasn't going to help, I don't know if reports came out about it, but the stock market definitely took a hit today. All over. And we're going into a weekend, so depending on Monday, might see more decline. Tomorrow's Saturday. Are we gonna have protests? Will there be some sort of group trying to get close to the Capitol? There'll be reports of people hopefully getting caught before that does get any closer. Either way, there's gonna be some shit, seems like. 20,000 troops. Dangerous. Oh, going into the cave. Is he gonna turn his light on? No light. Oh, there it goes. A feet of man. Look how far they went. Yeah, we're just gonna put a train on through right here. It's just a live stream of somebody driving a train. I was about to end the stream off, and I like to kind of just think the train keeps moving forward. We learn. Take another step. A little recap. Possibilities of tomorrow. That's also pretty cool too. Come on, I want him to get out of the tunnel. It looked like where he was at was super cool. Some guy, what do you think is gonna happen tomorrow? Tim, the first 48, what do you guys think is gonna happen? What's the narrative for tomorrow? Where are they at? Does it even say? Bergen Line and Flam Railway in Norway. I don't know. More of nothing, Biden's probably gonna talk again. Yeah, most likely. But I'm gonna head out, guys. I'll be back again tomorrow. We'll talk it out. We'll see. It's very interesting. And I think it's important. So I hope you guys do too. Hope you guys have a good night. And as always, a good day tomorrow. Like the video. Share the video. Subscribe. Fucking if you want to hit up the Cash App. I don't have monetization because I don't have enough subscribers. But maybe one day you guys can help me get there. So appreciate you. Hope you have a good night again and a good day tomorrow. Fucking peace.